We're live.
Welcome, everybody. Happy Business Update Event Day. Happy Thursday. Welcome to PM and the PM Pong and Mav in the PM. That's right. It is Thursday, February the 15th, 2024. Remember this day because Xbox resurrected itself one more time. More lives than a cat. I can't believe it. I thought for sure this was the time that all the doom and gloomers were going to be right, that Xbox was finally dead. But that's not the case. Phil said, no, rise, my friend, rise from the grave, Xbox. Come back to life. And so be it. That's exactly what happened. I'm being dramatic here, of course. But we did have the big, giant business update event. Obviously, speculation rampant about what it was going to be. It was mostly the corporate PR that you would expect. But definitely, if you were listening closely, I think there's interesting stuff in there. And for sure, it was a confident business update event. But we are going to get into all of that. On top of that, we got Sony, their new CEO, Hiroshi Totoki, admitting that they are also looking towards the future. So we're going to roll all that kind of in, and got a lot, got some more interesting little news this week too as well. So thank you all for being here. I got to get right into the show. Of course, I hope you all enjoyed wherever you watched it. Maybe some of you were stuck at work too, and could not watch it, and you just kind of been reading the synopsis of it all. Synopsis is completely different. Synopsis of everything that happened. Well, we are going to actually play it again and kind of break it down. Mav and I decide we're going to go through the video, watch it together again, and kind of stop it and kind of hit on some interesting conversation pieces. So if you were at work and did not get a chance to watch it live, don't worry. We will have that for you as well. But let's get to the co-host with the most, the CEO of the Fun Speculation Network, the better half of the beautiful and wonderful Miss Caitlin with her new lilac tennies, man, looking good out there. Valentine's Day gift. I saw those. And of course, she is obviously the one who does all the thumbnails and does all the work behind the scenes on the graphics and stuff. Chef's kiss, as always. Caitlin, thank you for sharing it out like you do too. Thank you so much. But the man, of course, I'm talking about is Fun Speculation, aka Mav, who has already had Mav rants, who wants to do victory laps, who wants to slam dunk every insider through his hoop. Mav, what's going on, brother? What a day. Fascinating day today, for sure.
Oh, it was good. It's a good day. It's a good day if you didn't want Xbox to die. It is. It is a good day if you had some rational, common sense thoughts in your brain and realized what's going on in the industry for a long time. And you're like, everybody chill the fuck out. And then we finally get this news today. If you've been on that side of the fence, today is a very, very damn good day. Now I'll tell you who it's not a good day for. Anybody who wanted to see Xbox fail, who is sick of this Xbox brand, who wanted every single game to be on every platform so they can play too, because why should it just be on an Xbox? Well, I got something to say. Xbox is here to stay. Hardware is here to stay. The digital storefronts are here to stay. Your games library isn't all of a sudden magically gonna fucking disappear into the ether. Everything is okay. And Xbox is here to stay. That's for damn sure. But it was a fun little event thing that we had here. It was just very chill, 20-something minutes long. And we got to watch and kind of dissect. We got some cool nuggets dropped within that as well. That kind of fit into some of the stuff that we said that they needed to address. Right? We talked about, okay, what's the underlying issue and what people have raised concerns over. how are they going to instill that confidence, right? And for me, I think they did that in spades. But besides all that, it's been awesome. Lots of awesome games to play. Lots of amazing uh like online games, lots of great single player games, lots of new games hitting Game Pass. Just lots of games, man. And so it's been pretty damn awesome playing that stuff, especially Helldivers 2 with you guys.
How
Even though sometimes
dare you?
I
How
know
dare you?
this multi-platform PlayStation game. How dare I mention the name of Helldivers 2 that's on PC day one where I am playing it? I'm sorry. Who would have thought that PlayStation putting their games in other places might end up making them some more money? Games as a service. It's a big, huge fucking surprise. PlayStation's doing the Xbox thing. 6 years too late, motherfuckers. You're behind the 8 ball a little bit, and it's okay. It's all right. We like to see Helldivers 2 succeed, and I am super happy that it is because they need to learn their lesson. And it's a fucking great game, and it's fun as hell to play. Even when I do accidentally vaporize you guys with the arc gun or a cluster bomb
Or three.
whatever, or 3 or whatever it may be. Yeah. But man, how you been, Pong? I know you actually got to hang out with us on a early code stream, man. This is like it's been a while. You always have to work, and now you're able to like race your ass home and have some fun with us today.
Barely. I was lucky that this week worked out the way that it did, and I could break away and make it a short day today and get home in time. So been doing great. Obviously lots of stuff in real life going on as always, but finding the time to game, and we've been getting a lot of gaming in, obviously, with Helldivers 2 especially. Got my new Turtle Beach Stealth Ultra controller that I've been playing with. I told you all I was going to get. First ever time buying a premium controller. So I've been testing that out for the past couple days. Loving it. Is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. No controller is, but I am loving it for me and for what my first time experiencing. I've played with an Elite at a buddy's house a bit. So I know what the Elite feels like. And but I don't have a whole lot to compare it to, but I will for sure say I like the trigger locks. This old guy needs all the help he can get, and pulling off faster shots, testing it out in Helldivers, it felt pretty damn good. So loving that. But yeah, Helldivers 2 has been, it's just so much fun. I overuse that word, but I told you all, I'm going to rage against the negativity out here about video games, the people who just simply can't seem to find fun in games anymore for some reason. I'm going to be the opposite. So Helldivers 2 has just been an absolute blast with you guys. We've been having a great time. It's great to have my PC hooked up to my big screen now. Sitting on my couch, not as convenient as a console. Again, this is why I've never been PC guy, but I will say being able to play a game like Helldivers 2 that I wouldn't have access to right now is absolutely incredible. Because I would be missing out on some great times because we have been laughing. Even the friendly kills are mostly funny. There are times in extreme moments where they're annoying, but mostly they are funny. It just adds to the absolute chaotic nature of that game. And man, oh man, that's pretty much been it for me. I haven't been doing too much Brotato. I pop in Brotato every night, a little bit, play a little bit before bed. But again, it's not as addictive as Vampire Survivors. It's still a good time. So I've been checking that out as well. A little bit of Tekken 8 here and there. But I've definitely been getting my game time in for sure. So yeah, no, it's been a good week. It was a great show earlier. Glad I could make it in just in the nick of time and catch Boom for a few minutes and everything else and catch up with everybody. And Steele's feeling better. He was sick the past couple days. And so he sounded good. Of course, he was ultra cheery running his victory laps during the show. So now that was a great stream. And we're going to get into it. We're going to get into what we heard. But first things first here, Mav. The show wouldn't be the show if it didn't start off with a little hype train. That's right, folks. Again, ad-free 2024 for Fun Speculation Network. Don't forget, your goal, even with this one, is still 2,723. That's right, 7,200. Or no, 2,700. I'm the bumping on y'all. Listen,
add another 5,000. Yeah, let's go.
Listen, We need a lot to keep this show ad
We're
free.
like
That's right,
Microsoft.
everybody.
We're branching out to more users.
We are. We're gonna reach those 2 billion, 3 billion.
Maybe,
as Steel likes to
we
say.
should start being more positive about PlayStation so we can branch out to those users as well. You know what I mean? Like bring them in, you
We're gonna
know,
bring Nintendo users
hook,
in.
line, and sinker. You know, we'll start talking some Nintendo more. You know, hey Mario, let's go. You know,
I haven't
Why
owned a
not?
Nintendo since the Super Nintendo, but I'll just talk about them all the time. Let's go, Zelda. What do you think? They need to change the whole formula. What do you guys think? Anyways, so yes, we are keeping it ad free on the Fun Speculation Network, everybody. That's right. We no hashtag no beans in 2024. We ain't selling coffee here. Thanks in part to Bull Alpha Wolfpack, who comes in with the 5 bomb. That's right. He flew overhead, dropped that bag of coal. We shoved it on in that furnace. The hype train's at a Mach 2.25. as he got on the court and did the easy layup. Thank you, Bold Alpha Wolfpack, for adding another car to the hype train. 5 more tickets for some lucky people. Strap in, boys and girls. It's going to be one hell of a show. Make sure that 4-point harness is nice and tight. And then I got to say, we don't discriminate here. Whether it's a single, whether it's a 5, whether it's a 20, whether it's 100 nuke, we don't care. And guess what? Reese came on through and bought himself a single ticket to the hype train. Thank you, Reese. Welcome to the Fun Speculation Network. Choo-choo, motherfucker. Choo-choo. And what else we got in here? We got Angry Hippie. That's right. Remember, for 1 month using that super chat, says Popeye's Pony Biscuits with a side of mustard.
Sounds
There's
good.
been a whole lot back and forth going on out there right now. Let me tell you, RC Polygons with the 5 bomb. That's right. He dropped a $5 super chat in here, helping out the goal. Again, 2,700. And now we are down to 18. Excuse me, 18. That's right, for the month. My most important point for me that Xbox made was Xbox Game Pass isn't having certain games not going to date. Xbox can support Call of Duty going day one. We are definitely talking about that. One of my highlights of the show.
Big bomb dropped tonight, for sure.
Big stuff there. And then we got the one and only Alvin. That's right. He comes in with the big dunk, the 25 bomb super chat. Alvin, just for that, we are pushing the train up to a Mach 2.75. That's right. Alvin, thank you so much. His super chat says they didn't show hardware, but they sure did talk about it. Exciting stuff ahead. Largest technological leap you've ever seen in a generation incoming. Also, pundits rip bozo. Alvin, we are also going to talk about that, my friend. Another big moment I thought from this show. Really put it all. Sarah just put it on the table.
Yeah.
Just like, this is what we're going to go do. Again, PR, corporate speak, sure. But it is public. It is a goal, and I can't wait to talk about it. But Alvin, thank you for the $25 super chat. Yeah, man.
We got one more. We got one more.
We got one more. Where?
Yeah,
I don't see it. It didn't pop on mine.
Stay high FFF with 20.
20 bomb. Let's go.
It said, today was a great day. It settled the fears of the weak-hearted. Proud of the community that kept their composure. I said this in chat, but I'll say it again. Thanks for keeping it real with the combos and staying level-headed. Yeah, none of us were freaking out on this channel. Everybody, I mean, like, I was trying to bring some rationale out there. You know what I mean? Like, it sometimes it comes across, you're going against the grain or whatever of what everybody is saying out there, and it's like you don't know, like, you can't. It's hard to. You're not gonna change the minds of the mob, But like, still, you gotta just say what you think and what you feel, and
sure.
It really there's really not a lot that was freaking any of us out, on this channel, and like, it's kind of turned around to where like it's some odd. Xbox is moving, like making some changes, obviously, right? But they're also moving full steam ahead in the direction that we first saw them going in, like pretty much all along. So. And it's doubling. Really, I think a message tonight, Pong, was doubling down on it.
Yes,
more than
for
anything. Or for
time being, for sure.
yeah,
Yes.
if everybody is like, oh, they got to stop doing this or got to stop doing that, or it's good, they can't do this, they can't afford to do that, or whatever, and it's like, oh, this thing that they've built over the last several years, that's still Xbox. And people talked about massive changes heading this way and stuff. We're like, I don't see massive changes. Like, this is interesting. There's some really cool stuff though that we kind of learned about. I can't wait to get into it, man.
It's true, brother. It's true. It was a very good day today. And stay high, FF. Choo choo, motherfucker. Thank you for that. Cause now we just pushed this train. The hype train's down at a Mach 3.0, and we're keeping it ad free here on the Fun Speculation Network. Thank you all for that. And of course, before Mav and I get into it, I'm going to shout out the rest of the chat here again. Every single one of you. Whether you lurk, whether you are live, whether you give in any way, shape, or form, whether you hit the like button or not, whether you share us out or not, giving us your ear is all we ever ask for here. And thank you so much, because you are giving us your time. You guys are a part of the show as much as me and Mav are, or any of the other shows and all the other panels. Thank you so much. So let's see who's in here tonight, because we got a lot of people. The energy's high. Wait, first of all, Eastside Vandal. Eastside Vandal said, I will not be left out. That's right, Eastside Vandal 2 bomb in here for a super chat, says no bleach for me. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, stay away from the bleach.
Stay away from the bleach.
Unless it's for, I'm just kidding.
And there's no, I don't think GameStop will let you go back and get your Xboxes back either. So,
yeah.
Sorry.
They will for more money.
Maybe. Yeah, they would. If you pay them extra.
Hey, you got to pay the weak-hearted fee.
The mustard-hearted fee?
You got to pay the panic fee, the freak-out fee, like you're a dumbass fee. You can have it back. We'll sell it back to you.
I hope you're all, mostly you're adults. Take that personal responsibility. Anyway, let's get going here. In the chat, we got, of course, Stay High, Triple F, who was already mentioned, but I'll mention you again. Obviously, Talos. Ray is in the house. Miss K's TV is in here. Great to see you. The beautiful Miss Caitlin's in the house. Of course, we got brother from another Psychonauts in here. We got Frizzle in the house. What's going on, Frizzle? We got Nam Omar, of course, joining us. Always good to see you, Nam. Bold Alpha Wolfpack, brother, thank you. Ghost Fixter's in here joining the crew. What's going on, Ghost Fixter? We got Dark Zone 2525 in here. What's going on? We got the Coach Hooded Canuck in the house. What's going on, Coach? Good to see you. We got Ninja Squirrel, not Skirl, Squirrel 30 in here. What's going on, Ninja Squirrel? Good to see you. I love squirrels, by the way. We got Tom from Toonami in the house. What's going on, Tom? Great to see you. Says, personally, I just, the Phil from The Verge article more than, personally, I wonder if you meant to say liked the Phil from The Verge article more than the Phil on the podcast. We will be touching on the Verge interview. Phil did a bunch of interviews as well. Maybe some people don't know this. He did a bunch of interviews with people, but we will talk about the Tom Warren one a little bit and go through it. Crispy Bomb, what's going on, brother? Always great to see you. One of the most memorable voices in the podcasting community. Crispy, always great to see you. Thank you for joining us, sir. We got Jason Max in the house. What's going on, Jason? Of course, we got the brother from another Steel Rain in here who joined us for the telecast earlier. Did I just say telecast? I did. That's right. We live streamed that sucker. Let's go. Steel, great to see you, brother. I'm Breezy's in here. What's going on, Breezy? Thank you for joining the show. Who else is in here? Scrolling up. Silver Lab Guy, what is going on? And of course, one of my favorite cereals, Captain Crunch in the house. What's going on, Captain? Great to see you, sir. Polly Baba's in here. Always good to see you, brother. We got Big Lou Ravens. I almost said Lou Ravens. Okay, Big Lou Ravens. What's going on? Choo choo, suck it, ponies. God, you guys are fired up tonight. Let's go. Who else? John Bon Zombie. I still love that name. John, great to see you in here. I appreciate it. Mitchie Dies a Lot, my friend. Great to see you joining us as always. Calorie. Calorie, what's going on, Calorie? Great to see you, brother. Thank you so much for being in here. We got the Stash Gordon in here. What's going on? We got Masshole 1977, of course, dropping in here. We got the Ray Chi in the house. What's going on, Ray Chi? Who else? We got Will Free Rosario. Yo to you as well. Great to see you. Who else? We got Luis Rivera in the house. What's going on, Luis? Great to see you joining us tonight. We got Rainbolt in the house. Always great to see you. Who else? We got Jeremy Lauzon. If I mispronounce it, again, I do apologize. I try my best, but Jeremy Lauzon. Great to see you. So happy that they are supporting Xbox hardware, and happy to PlayStation that they will have some good games to like Grounded and Hi-Fi Rush. That is a very measured take, sir. I appreciate that. Thank you for being in here. For sure, that's as far as back as I can go because you guys are crazy. Outlaw, I see you in here. I almost missed you, Outlaw. Great to have you joining us tonight on a great Thursday. And let's see here. Oh, God, Emperor Sofa King making his appearance known because he came in and bought a single ticket. Bought a single ticket to the Hype Train, the Fun Speculation Network. Guess what? My favorite cereal got it. Captain Crunch got it. Look at that. Look at that. Congratulations, Captain Crunch. Welcome to the Speculator, sir. God, Emperor Sofa King. Choo choo, motherfucker. Thank you for that. Appreciate you. Mr. Waffles in the house. What's going on, Mr. Waffles? Why do you hate pancakes so much? I don't understand. Oh, I already got that one. Anybody else in here? Black Card Day. What's up? What's up to you? Free Bear. Always good to see you, Free Bear. Thank you for joining us tonight. Night Eternals in the house. Pac-Man B's in here. We got the Dark Outlaws in here to go along with the other outlaw. What's going on? Bunch of outlaws in here tonight causing ruckuses. Who else? Who else? I think that's everybody.
Ruckuses. that's such an old man. Hey, you kids over there, stop causing a ruckus.
That's right. Cyber Gunter, I see you. Cyber Xbox is doomed. No, sir. No, it's not. I know you're just joking. But Nathan Hardman, I see you. Future Generations in here. What's going on, Future? Mitchie Pooh, I see you in here as well. Thank you all for joining us tonight. So, Mav, should we just jump into the video?
Yeah, let's just like dive into this shit because there was a lot of stuff. I know you rewatched it. I haven't rewatched it yet, right?
Yeah.
So but there was a lot of like little one-line sentences that like I gotta hear again to get 100% context and pick it apart and dissect the words that were used because there's information that there was a couple things, there was like some part they mentioned 10 games, right? Coming within a certain time span. Then there was like the Game Pass stuff, right? Then there was the hardware stuff, right? That Sarah Bond had mentioned. There was lots of little things here, but then there was also, talk about the reasoning why they're making certain moves with some of these games going to other platforms and what type of games they're looking at, which I will remind everybody fits entirely with the things that was leaked from the documents from the FTC and what they value for exclusivity, right? Now, it doesn't mean that won't change in the future, or that there haven't been conversations, or they aren't potentially considering things. We don't know, but like said many times, companies talk about a lot of shit, right? And sometimes things don't happen. Sometimes awesome stuff happens. Sometimes awesome stuff that would have been great doesn't happen. There's lots of things that are always talked about and considered, but like, they're kind of breaking down, I think they did a good job, Pong, of breaking down the business sense of it, right?
They did.
And
they did as much as they can.
And it's been a very PR wise, right? So,
of course. Has to be.
Providing confidence in their brand moving forward. Right. And not just in the brand, but also in the aspects of the brand that people had a lot of concerns about. So that was what I felt they needed to do, right? Was hardware, ecosystem, right? Because people were abandoning ship, losing faith because of rumors, all this stuff. And it was like, that's the underlying issue behind a lot of that, and still the confidence in it. And they did that in spades right here, and they did an excellent job with that. And I feel like the community has this extra level of confidence going forward now than they did before, right? So it's really interesting, all the little nuggets that we got in this thing. And I'm gonna make a petition. Let's go. Let's make a petition. A petition. Let's make a petition. A petition. Well, let's get one of these Xbox business updates events every year. Let's make this a fucking annual thing.
Jesus.
Yeah. Well, let's go. Xbox business update event 2025. Start the campaign trail, everybody. We need to have one of these, an annual thing, because it was awesome. Now we got some great news from it. You got lots of little bits of information. You got them kind of giving their current plans and what their future vision is of the Xbox business. And as fans, for me, it's like, hey, you know what? I'm in the ecosystem. I'm a consumer. I love hearing this shit. Even if it is super corporate PR, like whitewashed, like just make sure everything is exactly how it needs to be for the public consumption to cover our ass, all that kind of stuff. It's okay. I don't mind it as long as you're giving me those little nuggets of information along the way, because it gives me things to be excited about.
I agree with you from the standpoint is because I listened to and saw people upset that supposedly Xbox wasted their time today, that this should have been an Xbox Wire blog post. There are some people out in this community. I don't get you. I never will get you. I don't get your energy. I don't want to be around your energy ever. I don't care how big you are. I don't care how smart you think you are. I don't care about any of that shit. If they had just put out an Xbox Wire blog post, you would have been out here, oh, chicken shits. They didn't even have they couldn't even get out here in front of their community on camera and say what they needed to say. They had to put it in a blog post. That's how much they respect this community. Now it's, oh, they listen to the community too much. Here they go doing a podcast. We didn't need a podcast for them to say this PR bullshit. This was a waste of time. Don't ever watch it then. Then go away. You guys can all read.
Go away.
Go away. You guys can all read the synopsis afterwards. Why did you guys take the time out to watch this? Because you were hoping that they were going to come out and say that they were getting out of the business, or that they were going to become a full third-party publisher, or at least, at the bare minimum, say that all the rumors were true. Starfield was coming, Indy was coming, and all the other ones were coming, and you were going to be able to go on your podcast or write on your articles that you called it, and that everything was going third party. But because they didn't do that, because they disappointed you, because they crushed your dreams and hopes today, I don't know why they do this stuff. They should stop doing this stuff. Why listen to your community all the time? You always give in to your community. That's where Sony and Nintendo go right all the damn time. Like I said, it's a double-edged sword, but I loved it today. I loved what I saw. Again, there's some things where me and Mav differ on perspectives, but at the end of the day, thought they did exactly what they needed to do. But I'm all for Mav's plan. Phil, Sarah, Booty, make this a regular thing. Let's just do this. Let's do it. Yeah. Let's do it every 6 months. Let's do it. You know what? Just do one of these after every investor call.
Yeah,
just do that quarterly.
Great. Yes.
That would be fantastic. Let's just do that. Let's make sure we update everybody. The philosophy hasn't changed, right? The games are still day one of Game Pass. Let's just do this every time. Let's remind everybody every quarter.
Because Xbox fans are so fucking paranoid and shaky. They just gotta have their confidence reinstilled every like fucking 5 months. Like, hey, everything is still okay, guys. Stop panicking. We're still making games. We still have hardware. Don't worry. Like, they gotta do this. They gotta do this every 6 months just to keep people from like jumping off ledges about Xbox. Man, it's like insanity out there. I don't understand. Oh, there's another rumor. Oh my god. They're gonna cease to exist. Holy fucking shit. Who said what? Oh, GameStop. I hope they're open right now, because I can't wait to sell my fucking stupid ass Xbox. I'm done with this. Oh, a business update event? Okay, I'll have to hear what you say. Keep me in. We'll see. We'll see if you keep me. Oh, you're still making games? Oh, you're still making hardware? Oh, Game Pass still exists? Holy fucking shit, I was wrong. Oh my God, you mean these people lied to me? Oh my fucking god! Oh, I guess we'll just keep playing games like I should have been doing all along. Blah 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 blah. Fuck you. All right. Anyway, all right. Let's go. Let's watch the
Chat.
video.
Yeah, I want you all to know something. That's Mav's real talk right there. That's how he actually talks when he's not on camera. You know how singers lose their accent when they sing? You can't tell, that they're from a different country. A lot of times they sound like almost American, right? They lose that accent. Mav loses his Texan accent when he's on a podcast. That's his reality right there. That's how he sounds.
I don't know what you're talking about, bro.
All right.
Okay, Mr. Minnesota, when you're not on a podcast, you
Hey,
Mr. Minnesota.
That's fine. I get it. I am that way. My that does come out, even though I don't have the most severe one. It is bad.
Yeah, when you say roof, rough. You say roof.
Rough.
Roof.
I know, rough.
All right, let's do this.
I'm getting on the roof.
Gotta go scrape the leaves off the roof there.
All right. Why can't I do anything?
All right. Well, okay. Will it not let you hit play on your? You got to do it on your actual browser.
Yeah, I know.
Okay.
Just bear with me. Old guy shit here.
Okay. Is this a beginning? Because we're 2 minutes in.
No, I'm starting it over.
Okay.
Relax.
All right.
Relax. Okay. Y'all ready?
Yeah.
Here it comes.
We're ready.
Okay. It's playing now.
Hello and welcome to the official Xbox podcast. I'm your
All right.
host, Tina Amini, and we have a very special episode today, as you can probably tell by the fact that I'm joined by Phil, Sarah, and Matt. Well,
First of all, Tina Amini, I said this on the show today, one of the best hires they've had in a long ass time.
Yeah.
This woman can do it all. She's the one that created the team that came up with the directs and all that kind of stuff. She is a whiz at a lot of different ways. She does a great interview here, has great questions. I know they were pre-planned. I know she probably got help writing them, but she is fantastic. Her presence, and then on top of that, putting together the team that puts together those amazing directs that we all were calling for that turned out perfect. This girl is super good at what she does. Great hire. Great hire.
welcome. And we're going to talk about some updates at Xbox. We want to talk about game exclusivity. We want to talk about Activision Blizzard now that they're part of our portfolio, how that might be an impact on
Let me know
Game
if you
Pass.
want me to stop
And we
at
want
any
to talk
point,
about
Matt.
hardware too and how all of this fits into the strategy at Xbox. So where should we start, Phil?
Well, when we originally had planned for the show, starting back in December, I think we probably would have started with Activision Blizzard, maybe talked a little bit about the exclusivity with some of the news coming up, and then hardware. But we've had some unforeseen news that has come out. So let's just go and tackle the exclusivity question, because I know it's on the mind.
Didn't say
of a lot of
rumors.
people we hear from the community, and that's an important input for us. So we made the decision that we're going to take 4 games to the other consoles, just 4 games, not a change to our kind of fundamental exclusive strategy. We're making these decisions for some specific reasons. We make every decision really with the long-term health of Xbox in mind. And long-term health of Xbox means a growing platform, our games performing, building the best platform for creators, reaching as many players as we can. We're always looking to learn as a leadership team and to grow. And we think this is an interesting point in time for us to use what some of the other platforms have right now to help grow our franchises. So
Okay, can you pause that?
So these 4 titles.
So
Yes, sir.
when he says like what the other platforms have right now to grow our franchises, I mean, he's just talking about people, right?
People.
Okay.
Super.
People. Okay.
Yeah. People.
100%. All right.
They got a base. Yeah. They got big bases, right? And some of them
Yeah.
are only Nintendo fans or PlayStation only players, right? So that's what I took away from that.
Yeah.
Now, I think Steele has a little different thought on that, but I think that's what he's talking about is just using what they got, which is their customer bases, for sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Also interesting that he talked about how this was originally going to be a step process instead of having one big layout like they're doing here with all this information. They were going to lay it out over time, slowly roll out this news, but the uproar in the community, which he called unforeseen news, he didn't say rumors, he said unforeseen news came out, changed those plans and actually forced them to come to this, or they made the decision internally to do it this way instead. So I thought that was interesting as well.
Yeah.
What are they? Can you say?
I'm not going to name those games. The teams that are building those games have announced plans that are not too far away. As we know, game teams put a lot of energy into their announcements with the partners. So I don't want to take anything away from those teams. So I won't be talking about the titles specifically, but I think when they come out, it'll make sense.
Mav, do you have a problem with this?
Absolutely.
A lot of people are freaking out about this.
I mean, come on, really? I mean,
I'm talking, Chad. I'm talking about that he refuses to name the 4 games. A lot
Right.
of people think he should have named the 4 games.
If you want to find out what they are, there's lots of articles where they pretty much name like what the games are, and like, but come on, you expect him to go out there and like, okay, so let's say there's a Nintendo Direct next week where they have a deal with Nintendo, and they're supposed to show 2 of their games, and it's supposed to be a big reveal for Nintendo to have, let's say,
And the
Hi-Fi Rush and Pentiment on there or whatever, right? And for the developers to have that big announcement for them, right? For him to come out and it's something like this and ruin that with the partner you're trying to establish a relationship with, and also for the dev teams to help, surprise the fans with those trailers. I mean, really, like, we're gonna get upset about that. He even goes into what kinds of games they are just to make it abundantly fucking clear what they are not, right?
Right.
So
Right.
that is
and answers the question about the 2 big ones as well.
Anybody caring about that just to pander to us, you're losing the plot here.
I agree. And you'll hear that next year, folks. Here it comes.
Can we say if either of those titles are Starfield or Indiana Jones?
They are not Starfield or Indiana Jones.
Well, what was the criteria in how the team was thinking about selecting those 4 titles?
Let me start a little bit outside of that, and then I'll get to the 4 specific games that we're talking about right now. Because the fundamental decision driver for any decision that we make, anything we're going to talk about today, is the long-term health of Xbox. That we're running a growing platform that is reaching more players, that our games are having as much success as possible. And I do have a fundamental belief that over the next 5 or 10 years, exclusive games that are exclusive to one piece of hardware, are going to be a smaller and smaller part of the game industry. And that's not some great insight, because if you look at...
You hear that, folks?
Yeah.
Again, this is a little bit, depends on how you hear this. It depends on, where you're coming from. Again, big picture, Phil's telling you, again, stuff that we've talked about and why I believe, personally, I'm not going to speak for Mav because Mav got a little different thoughts on this, but I do believe that some of these rumors were true. Not all of them. Not that all the people posting or talking about them weren't out here for clickbaits, but I do believe that it had reached a point internally, right, that the discussions were heated enough. I believe that Starfield was on the table. I believe that maybe even Indiana Jones was on the table because of what he just said there. Their vision is exactly what we said it was. We just said that they might be speeding it up at this point due to ABK, that exclusives 5 to 10 years from now will become a much smaller part of the gaming industry, right? And so they're moving in that direction, obviously, and they believe that other platform holders will move that direction as well. Obviously, the main one being PlayStation, which we'll talk about later. But again, this was a key moment too. I thought that he kind of laid it out for everybody. This is the stuff we're talking about. As the industry continues to evolve, less and less exclusives. Exclusivity is going to start to go away. Platforms are evolving. Eventually, we won't need them. So again, just wanted to bring that up real quick here.
At the last 10 years and what the biggest games are today, it's a natural place. Whether it's one console and PC, multiple consoles, mobile console and PC, you see big games landing on multiple platforms. And we want to be a great platform for creators that are trying to realize that potential.
Ahead of the curve.
But now back to the specifics of the question on these four specific titles. We looked at games that are over a year old. So they've been on Xbox and PC for a while. A couple of the games are community-driven games, new games that kind of first iterations of a franchise that have reached their full potential, I'd say, on Xbox and PC. There's always growth. Franchises that we obviously want to continue to invest in, part of having the ability to continue to invest is that the businesses behind those franchises continue. We think it's important that these service-based games that have communities behind them, that they can have confidence that they're going to exist in the future. So 2 of them, kind of community-driven games that will.
So I take from this the games of service type games, live service games that have more so started to flatten out on Xbox and PC, and they're looking to expand those games to more gamers to grow the franchises and to establish them more, right? Basically. You're on mute, Pong.
And the 2 obvious ones, Sea of Thieves and
Grounded.
The second one is a guess, but
Yeah.
Grounded is most likely there. That's what most people are landing on. So that's the first 2.
End up on other platforms and give us the ability to continue to invest in them. We think that's great for the business and great for the communities, more players to play with. I'd say 2 of the other games are smaller games that were never really meant to be built as kind of platform exclusives and all the fanfare that goes around that, but games that our teams really wanted to go build, that we love supporting
Passion
creative
projects.
endeavors across our studios regardless of size. And as they've realized their full potential on Xbox and PC, we see an opportunity to utilize the other platforms as a place to just drive more business value out of those games, allowing us
Money
to invest in maybe future iterations of those, so sequels to those, or just other games like that. In
Finding
our
a bigger
portfolio.
audience to
And when we don't damage
find a reason to make more
Xbox
passion
and we can grow our
projects,
business using what other platforms have and to help us with that, we're going to do that. And
here's where I disagree with Phil. I understand what he's saying. The concept is easy. It's business, right? And obviously for those smaller games to potentially become franchises, which is what he's talking about here, or having those teams go back and do another passion project, like you said, Mav, is going to take money. And what he's basically saying is those games by themselves on just the Xbox and the PC don't necessarily lend themselves to that from a business side of things. So what they're trying to do is give them the best chance to go make more money so that they can greenlight maybe a Hi-Fi Rush 2. I would say greenlight a Hi-Fi Rush 2 no matter what. Again, whatever.
they're going to definitely do that, right?
I think so too, but he's saying that they do need to recoup more money here. Is basically what he wants to see that. And so that from a business side is very easy to understand. Now, where I disagree, this is where I say if I was in Phil's spot, nobody's getting anything again, because I think those games, while they're not built to be console sellers or the exclusives, they still add value to your overall portfolio as an exclusive. So when you look at the total picture, this is where I disagree with this philosophy. On a base level, again, business level, I can understand, but again, base level as a gamer, as a guy who's competitive, I never would do it, but I understand it.
And that's really the story behind these 4 games. And last thing I'll say, looking forward, I think there is an interesting story for us of introducing Xbox franchises to players on other platforms to get them more interested in Xbox. We think there's a good brand value for Xbox there. So 4 games, no promise beyond that. So if you're on those other platforms and you see these 4 games coming, please don't take it as some signal that everything's coming.
So
it's not.
Can you pause it real quick?
Yep.
Because I think everybody's assuming that all 4 games are coming to all the platforms. I don't know if that's necessarily the case, right? Like it may be, but I think like, okay, maybe they find like Nintendo, they're getting this one, or like, you know what I mean? Or like PlayStation may get this one, stuff like that. Or maybe some will go on both. But I don't think that necessarily every game is going to both Nintendo and PlayStation out of the 4. But we'll have to wait and see on that.
We'll have to wait and see. I could see an argument for all 4 going though. But the other point here too, Mav, is something that we speculated on when we were talking about all this, of the reasons why they would do this. What would be the advantage? And Phil just touched on it there. We were right about that we speculated that one of their thought process, and again, it's not like some magic here. Again, it's common sense, but their discussions obviously include that they believe that by putting Xbox games on other platforms, that it introduces people to games that maybe they don't see over there or are different enough
Mhm.
that get people kind of curious about Xbox's ecosystem and games that maybe were the Nintendo only fans or the PlayStation only fans or the Nintendo PlayStation only fans. And maybe they see these types of games and go, what else I got over there? And they might start investing, whether they go buy an Xbox or whether they, do cloud gaming or whatever, that they might invest in the ecosystem later on. My point being is, especially like Grounded, that is a game. When you look at PlayStation, they just don't get over there. Of course, the PlayStation only fans knock on it and rip on it, but we already know those. Again, the people play fun games, and a lot of people love Grounded. And there's a whole part of the PlayStation community that now get a chance to play Grounded that go, oh, Xbox makes some cool different style games I just don't see on PlayStation. Maybe I want to go check it out. That's the idea, but that's why we were talking about that. So, all right, let's keep going.
And we're going to learn.
So when you are thinking about the future and this concept of live service games that can benefit from bigger audiences, new audiences, how does that apply to future titles and how you're applying that criteria there?
Yeah, there's really no fundamental change to how we think about exclusivity. We just came out of Developer Direct, which was an awesome show.
It's what I've been
where
saying
we showed
all along.
great games that are coming to Xbox and PC and cloud, which really makes them accessible to hundreds of millions of people. So it's this kind of, we're really focused on a couple platforms and what's going to show up there. But our key of play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, when everybody plays, we all win. These have been part of our strategy for years and will continue to be. Our focus is on how do we continue to grow the games industry by reaching more players in more places, and how do we grow Xbox as part of that. Xbox is a hardware platform. Xbox is a publisher of great games. And Xbox as a platform for the world's best creators.
And then knowing that, how do we think about our first-party games and Game Pass?
Yeah, well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years.
This is an interesting
where
thought.
It used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform. And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox.
Now,
Yeah.
core points early on being hit right here, reassuring everybody, right? Reassuring that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox, because there was a lot of rumors out there that maybe they finally gotten a deal. We speculated on for a long time if they could get a deal with PlayStation or Nintendo or both, that they would put a curated version of Game Pass over there. Booty's saying right here, none of that.
They've changed their ideas about that, it seems like, where it's become like that's more of the selling point of the brand as a whole. And
they want to keep that as of right now. Yes, 100%. And he is the first one to say it, all games Game Pass day one. Right? It's not going away.
He had said, can you just rewind it like a few seconds? Like right when he starts talking.
Well, to build on what Phil just said, one thing I would add, as you were talking about growth, is just that we've sort of seen this inversion over the last 5 years, where it used to be that the platform was the biggest thing.
That's right.
And the games would sort of tuck in within the platform. Today, big games like a Roblox or a Fortnite could actually be bigger than any one platform.
Power World.
And that really has changed the way that we think about things. So in the midst of all that, I think we at First Party can come back to sort of some core principles. First, that all of our games will be on the Xbox platform.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hold Matt. I'm gonna hold you to this with Aura. Now, what do you consider the Xbox platform? Because Xbox PC, you know what I mean? When he says platform, I want to know exactly what he's referring to when he says platform. Is he talking about the console, right? Obviously, they're not going to make another game and just put it on PlayStation or Nintendo, right? So for me, like, hardware is the core aspect here, right? To when he's talking about platform. Okay, so
Mhm.
ours is launching first on PC, obviously. So I just want to make sure that Matt holds up his end of the bargain and brings that shit to console. Okay, just putting it out there.
It will. It'll come. It'll come.
Platform. Second, all of our games will go into Game Pass on day one. And third, we know that Game Pass will only be available on Xbox. So there's sort of starting points for us. As Phil mentioned, there are games today that you can play that only can be found on Xbox. And at the same time, we want to bring more of our games to more players. So we're going to continue to look at that.
So that's where he
Kind of moving aside, though, from
alluding
some
they
of
will
those and
going to
thinking
keep
more
their
about what does
mind
it really
open
mean for the
about some of
player.
that stuff.
To me, the two key things are cross-play and cross-save. Those things allow us to deliver on the promise of Xbox, which is play with your friends where they are.
Selling you yet again why the Xbox ecosystem is still viable. When people say, well, why would I buy an Xbox? He's selling you on all the reasons that we have talked about, that there's still advantages to the Xbox side. And with them reconfirming Game Pass only on Xbox, that again is part of that benefit of when people ask, why would you buy an Xbox? Why would I buy an Xbox? Well, he's laying out all the reasons that their competitors don't necessarily put a whole lot of effort into that they have been.
Play on the devices you want, play the games you want. So that is really only possible at a practical level when you know that your saves and your player are going to be able to move across all those parts. So not all of our games today are necessarily built to take advantage of that. There still will be some games that don't. As we bring more teams into the Xbox family, there's some catch up to do as we get there. But that cross-play, cross-save is like so fundamental to what we're doing, and I think is something that we as first party get such a good benefit from being so close to the platform.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's one of the things, like you said, all of our games are always in Game Pass. And so I'm excited to announce, you know, with the coming together that we had with Activision Blizzard King, that Activision and Blizzard games are coming to Game Pass, starting with Diablo 4 on March 28th, which I'm super, super excited to share today.
The little treat I said that they needed to do during the show. I said, give us the roadmap to the ABK games or something. You throw in a little treat. Here it is, and it's a big one, right, Mav? Diablo 4, some people were saying Diablo, Call of Duty, those will never come to, you know, Game Pass. It's not sustainable. They didn't just give us the, you know, they didn't talk about the backwards compatibility today. They instead dropped a big one of those key titles from ABK that a lot of people thought wouldn't possibly show up on Game Pass due to the cost.
Yeah, you remember like this one when like this one has been a point of contention at some points in the past because before the acquisition happened, like the Diablo team, Rod Ferguson, and other people are like, we have no plans about putting this game in Game Pass, and people ran with that and so like, oh, this game's never coming to Game Pass. See, they said they didn't want it and all this kind of stuff. Like, you know, March 28th, and this is one of the most popular ABK games, right? Like this is up there and it's current and they have great seasonal content that keeps coming out that, you know, some people may like some of them more than others.
$65 horses. $65 horses.
That is such fucking like not true. I see those posts all the time and it's like,
it's bad.
I agree, right? But they're picking on Diablo when like there's so many other fucking games that do the same damn thing. But I only see these posts about Diablo when
Diablo's cool to hate.
100%. Like, yeah, like it's not a $65 horse skin, right? You buy if you want to get the big bundle of in-game currency. Yeah, there's a horse skin you get as a bonus with that, or it's included with it, right? But like, they're not charging you $65 for a fucking horse skin. Okay, like you want to look at like the bundle toppers and shit like that, and all the Ultimate Team games, and like start writing articles about Ultimate Teams and my team, all that kind of stuff, before you just all of a sudden start picking on fucking one other game. And those are even worse because those are pay to win and those are fucking random.
They are.
Anyway, just
but
saying.
This is great news. This is great news. March 28th, Diablo 4. If you haven't jumped in yet, again, great game. People can down on it, whatever. There's certain criticisms, but Diablo 4 coming to Game Pass confirmed here at this event was a big one for me as well. It showed their commitment to what they were saying right here.
And that's not a long wait.
And it's all part of our commitment to make Xbox, the Xbox experience
Sarah.
and the games that we build is widely available as possible. So now the 34 million Game Pass members can all enjoy the fantastic experience of Diablo 4.
Okay, so I have
Can
a
we
question
come back
here.
to the
real
point,
quick.
Phil, you mentioned.
Sorry, I keep having you pause it.
No.
There's been a
It's fine.
point of contention here about the 34
There
million.
has.
Yes. So
There has. Yeah.
okay, so Sarah said 34 million. I see conflicting things online of whether that includes Game Pass Core or not, right?
Mhm.
Okay, so Game Pass Core would not include Diablo 4.
Correct.
I'm just throwing that out there.
Tom Warren wrote in his article that it did include Game Pass Core. So I don't know where that sits or what that is. That would be, I've got to say, it probably does not include Game Pass Core because of the fact that you just said the way that Sarah said it, unless they're going to offer it to core players, but I don't think they are.
Yeah.
So I don't think that's true.
I think there's some
I don't know.
miscommunication with the language there because the numbers don't add up.
They don't add up.
Because
They
they
don't
were
add up.
already over 30 million before they at around 30 million, right? Before they added Game Pass Core, like switched Xbox Live Gold to
Right.
Game Pass Core. And the previous reports we had of Xbox Live Gold numbers was much more than that. And we know that they've had successes with Power World. Starfield
Correct.
brought in more subscribers than before. So there has been some growth there within Game Pass naturally before adding in game. Now, maybe the numbers do add up and they're like Xbox Live Gold had way less than we think, but it doesn't, like, it doesn't make sense.
I hope we get some
you know?
clarification. I'm sure we'll get some
Yeah.
clarification at some point, but yeah.
Mentioned at the top, this isn't really a change in strategy for us. Can you recap for me how it isn't?
Yeah, and I thought both Matt and Sarah did a really nice job of talking about
almost
what
forgot
we're
their
doing on
names.
Xbox, where we're going. If you take a platform feature like Xbox Play Anywhere, which has been a promise that we've made on our first party games, that you can buy our game once, you're going to get play across Xbox and Windows. I think we're the only platform that does this. That makes it possible for you not only to play with your friends wherever they are,
Another
but to know that
benefit.
you actually have
Yeah.
multiple entitlements to the games. I think that's a technology I would love to see applied to more platforms.
Shots fired.
But it is this view that people are going to play Xbox in multiple places. Whether it's play the games you want with the people you want, anywhere you want, whether it's content, community, and cloud, whether it's when everybody plays, we all win. Like, we've had different taglines, different strategy, kind of words that we've used, but always with this view that Xbox is a platform for creators who want to reach the most players. Our investments in xCloud, our investments in franchises like Minecraft and now Call of Duty and other large franchises so that we learn how to build those. This has been a strategy that we've been on for, I'd say, a decade. It's not about one device. It's not about games in service of a device, but rather the devices that people want to play on should be in service of making the games as big and popular as they possibly could be. Because really, a healthy creator community on Xbox, a healthy creator community in gaming all up, is the thing that all of us as game players should be voting for, because that's the thing that will lead to the best long-term success and growth in this industry.
And my understanding, just from listening and learning from you three over the past few weeks, just understanding what's happening with Xbox, is that we see trends with player behavior where people are playing on multiple devices. That is the reality. And we have put some games out on multiple platforms before. So my understanding is that that's been good for players. How does that come back to the business with all of that in mind?
Yeah, as you said, we have shipped games on other platforms. In fact, realistically, if you look with the addition of Activision and Blizzard and ZeniMax, we're one of the largest game publishers on
This is
PlayStation.
what I've been-
We're one of the largest publishers
Point we've all
on the
made now.
Nintendo Switch, especially when you put Minecraft into the equation as well. And now we're one of the largest publishers on mobile platforms as well. And that's not something that we want to back away from. We want to continue to be building great games that millions and millions of people can love, and that they can play those games where they want to go play. But we do understand the business success that Xbox has to have. Us as leaders in this business, the system today, the system that all companies that we play video games from, is a world of you got to be growing your business growth in our Xbox business is critical to the long-term health of Xbox. Many people know I've been on Xbox for over 20 years, and I want to make sure Xbox is in the best position for the next 20 years. That means healthy player community, healthy creator community, and healthy business. So when we look at
pause real quick,
opportunities,
Yep.
He said it Xbox about 50 times in the last few seconds. So, I don't think they're making the name change to Microsoft Gaming anytime soon. Just saying,
No.
So
No.
that was another
They're
one
stressed.
that was getting thrown out there like crazy, with the hey, Xbox, the name is going to cease to exist on Thursday. It's going to come out and they're going to change it to Microsoft Gaming. All this stuff, man, it's crazy.
Stressing. This is PR talk too. This is in response to the community uproars, talking about the damage to the brand as well. I believe this is in response to this, stressing that Xbox, the name itself, the brand, is important to them, and that they want that business underneath that banner, the Xbox banner, not underneath any other banner. They want that to grow wherever they go with this stuff, right? It will be known as Xbox. And I think that that's a lot of this talk right here too, is reinforcing that idea once again.
For sure.
to allow more people to play, more people to engage, more people to buy, more people to subscribe. It's all about putting Xbox in the best position. And our hardware is a critical component of that. The absolute best experience somebody has on Xbox is hardware that your team builds and that people play on. But that's not going to be everybody. We fully accepted that we're going to have Xbox players across all kinds of devices.
So I think a lot of people think about 2023 as this incredible year for gaming. And in a lot of ways it was. There were some really amazing releases that I think we all enjoyed. But what were the signals behind the scenes that maybe indicated how we wanted to look at the future of Xbox and how we kind of keep up with the industry?
This is a little glimpse, everybody, into high level stuff. They're not going to spill the beans on some of the high level behind the scenes stuff that they talk about in boardrooms all the time, but he's giving you a little glimpse of kind of the crystal ball that they look at and the forecasting that they do and what they were seeing in 2023. While all of us gamers were out here just calling it one of the GOAT years, freaking amazing, or most of us were calling it one of the most amazing years for content. Behind the scenes, again, whether you believe him or not, this is what he's going to present, is actually kind of what they saw business wise. And I think this was interesting too.
For me, I like, just as from corporate level, like as a consumer, this kind of stuff like just generally always bothers me because like it's like, oh, the rich are getting richer. You know what I mean? I know. It is. I know. But that's like ultimately what it is. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, the people, a lot of employees, a lot of consumers, everybody is affected a lot of times more than the rich people not getting richer because the kids got to fatten their wallets and all that kind of stuff. But not taking anything away from Phil here, he's just delivering the reality of the world that we live in and the way a $3 trillion corporation and the rest of the entire games industry looks at things. Do I wish it was different? Do I wish that they would say, okay, instead of actually course correcting to downsize and diminish our potential to grow the business, I wish they would say, you know what, let's use all these assets to figure out how to grow it more.
Which they also still do in the backside, right?
Yes.
On the back end, they do because they're still hiring. It's not like there's a hiring freeze going on at Xbox right now, right? They're still hiring people, but they have to do certain things. Again, perfect world, we'd find some system that works out for everybody. It's not the way it is. Without the fat wallets, we wouldn't have all the great content.
It's just sometimes a course correction, it can be a little bit overly calculated and stuff like that.
Oh, of course, just like they overcorrected during the pandemic.
Yep.
They overhired, right? All the companies out in the tech industries overhired during COVID because they said, oh, this is pots of gold. We're never going to end.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, such a good question. And I think it's, as people who care about the industry, which I assume is people who are watching this, it was an amazing year. Some great launches, some of the games that I think will stand the test of time and people will be talking about a decade from now.
Starfield.
But it's an industry that didn't really grow. And what happens when an industry doesn't grow? You end up with some job eliminations, which we had. We had even our own hard decisions to make about building a sustainable business for ourselves, but in no way were we alone in that. When you think about a healthy industry, I want players who believe that they will find the best games on the platforms that they love. I want people who invest their careers in working here to feel like this is a place that they can be successful. And that really is down to being part of an industry that is growing. If you listen to Lisa Su, the AMD CEO, she'll say that AMD-powered consoles are likely to decline in 2024. I think there's an amazing set of games coming in 2024. But if we don't get to growing as an industry, the industry will struggle. And today there's really two choices on how do you grow the industry. Do you say I have a fixed number of players, the players that we have today, and do I find new ways to monetize those players to get more money from the players that I have? Or do you think about how do I expand the business I have by finding new players and adding those to the base of players that already play? Our focus on
Or if you're
Xbox
PlayStation,
for
you can
the
do
last
both.
decade has really been on that latter point of how do we make sure Xbox is growing for our players, growing for our creators, so those people are finding success on our platform, which will grow the Xbox business and put Xbox in a position to be very strong for years and decades to come.
Matt, earlier you were talking about these growing gaming communities, how they're incredibly large and comparable on such a different level when we think about console audiences. Like you mentioned Roblox, you mentioned Fortnite. So how are we're obviously thinking about our responsibility, our hardware responsibility is supporting the growth of gaming communities. How has that actually shown up for the players? Are there other games we can speak to from our portfolio?
Well, as Phil mentioned, I mean, two of the biggest ones for us, Call of Duty and Minecraft, I mean, they are driven just from the bottom up by the communities of people that play those games, which is so great. I think about it, for the player community, it comes down to where are the friends, where are the people you play with, and then equally important is where have you built up your library of games, right? Where have you invested? Where's that library? I think those two things probably are some of the biggest influences on where people choose to play and what devices they choose to play.
Yeah.
When we think about, on the other side, the developer side, just any game developer wants their game to find the biggest audience possible. That's just the nature of building a game. You want people to enjoy and participate in what you've made. And I think we're in a unique position to deliver on that just because we are the platform. We build hardware, we've got a first-party games group, and then we've got a system that ties that together, that brings together your friends, your progression, your achievements, all of that.
Again,
I think
giving you
that's
all the
really what has
advantages.
contributed to the momentum behind some of these communities.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, when you look at, just step back and you look at the history of the industry, we've moved from a place where it used to be that someone built and launched a game to accelerate hardware to actually the things we do with our hardware and with our platform are all in service of making those games bigger. And we think about that across all of the investments we make, the consoles we build, the investments we do with things like cross-play, cross-progression, the things that we're doing with cloud. How do we actually give more options to game creators so they can have the greatest success? I think one of the fun recent examples about this is actually Pal World. You know,
Interesting to talk so much about Pal World. We know they showed it behind the scenes too.
Yeah.
Pocket Pair, you got the eye of Xbox on you right now.
Pal World was able to launch. They were a game preview. They launched in Game Pass. They also simultaneously launched in Steam. And through the combination of those things, you know, Pocket Pair was able to have this outsized success. And it was the largest third-party Game Pass launch ever. And that's all because we give creators options on how they can launch their games. We've got subscription, we've got retail, we've got free-to-play, we've got game preview. We have the consoles, we have our experience on PC, and they can access all of these
Advantages for the consumers.
And when we step
advantages for the
back
devs.
and we just look at the
Keep highlighting.
performance of our platform all up, we know it's working. We're at the highest level of users on console, the highest level of users on PC, the highest level of
Key.
users on cloud ever.
Key.
We have double-digit growth rate on PC and cloud, places where we're enabling creators to actually reach new players beyond the console ecosystem. And that's why we're leaning into it and doing more, because we see all those signals.
So we're talking about the role that hardware plays for creators, for the games and those communities. What about the role that hardware plays for us as a business, for Xbox?
When we look at our hardware, it really is, and Phil said this earlier, it's where you get like the most flagship seminal experience of Xbox. And it also represents a developer target. Our developers can build the specs of our hardware, and we invest to make sure they know when they do that, that the games are going to run great on our hardware, but they're also going to be able to be accessed across any screen because of all the other investments we make. So we're giving them an easy way to access as many players as possible. And we actually have more creators right now building for Xbox than ever before by nature, thousands of them by nature of those investments. And we got more to come. There's some exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday.
Okay, so here we go, Mav. We're gonna exciting stuff coming out in hardware that we're going to share this holiday. And then she says this.
We're also invested in the next generation roadmap. And what we're really focused on there is delivering the largest technical leap you will have ever seen in a hardware generation, which makes it better for players and better for creators and the visions that they're building.
Wham. On the table, you could say this is corporate, and of course they're going to say that, but did they, in terms of raw power, deliver the most powerful console this generation so far? Yes, they did in terms of raw power. Now you can argue about the results all day long, but they did. She's putting it out there. The biggest technological leap ever in a generation of hardware. Mav, like I said, if you go back through and look at the history of consoles, we have had some massive leaps here.
Yeah.
This is a hint at what I said they needed to do. Make something very compelling. And we all talked about this. We all speculated about what it could be. There's rumors out there, hybrid. There's a lot of smoke out there about hybrid. This indicates that they are doing something pretty big. And this is also another huge commitment from Sarah here, because if they are shooting for this goal, whether or not they hit it, who knows? We'll find out. But the fact that they're shooting it, this is going to be a massive R&D sink. They are sinking a lot of money into making whatever they are making for the next gen console. What did you think about this statement here, Matt?
Yeah, and I kind of goes back to stuff we're talking about before. Like, I think more than anything, Xbox has, when everybody's worried about hardware not being existing and all this kind of stuff, it's like I'm thinking like it makes every bit of sense why they would continue to make hardware. Because there's a core audience that is dedicated console users, right? And also a lot of their, like she alluded to before, a lot of their platform is just built off of the specs of the hardware, right? So like evolving and advancing that is going to inherently evolve and advance the rest of the ecosystem. That's just kind of how they've built it out, right? Yep. So they have a lot of reasons why they invest in hardware, and she led all those explanations down. Now, I think what's going to change over time in the long term, as the younger audiences become more of the dominant audience, right? As like the core console enthusiasts continue to get older, or some start to migrate to PCs or do other things, or start dabbling with some of these other like PC handhelds, all this other kind of stuff, because there's more hardware options really right now than we've ever seen before, or at least in a very long time when there was a flood that tried to compete for the market. But right now you have all these handheld PCs coming out. You have Steam making a push. You have Nintendo still. You have PlayStation. You have Xbox, and they're all doing these things, right? So, but Microsoft has the ecosystem, right? They have the storefront, and do they want to make more money or less, right? So as a business, and they know that there's still core console users out there, having options for them is going to be a core component and key to their success, especially when you factor in the other stuff for the specs and the development aspects and all those other kind of things, right? So it's also going to be more of an identity thing still, because you can market that, brand it, like you have it in the store shelves, all those kind of things. It helps give it identity to everything instead of you just being in the ether as an invisible ecosystem, right? Like there's a lot of reasons why if you're Microsoft, you keep building hardware. But I think because it's not as dependent on hardware success to be successful for Xbox, it allows them to be a little bit more creative, especially when you have so much money coming in from so many different games that are on all these different devices and the platforms. Okay, so let's think outside the bun here a little bit, right? Let's have some interesting creative things and trends that we see in the industry and do some of this stuff. But you know what? Let's hit the balls to the fucking wall here, because if we're making a box that is for the core console enthusiast, let's really make a fucking box for the core console enthusiast, right? And that's something I've been talking about for a long time, Pong, that like eventually I think the console market is going to shift to a space where it's more for the enthusiast console buyer and less about the mass market, because there's so many different other ways to consume games now, and that's going to continue to evolve over time. But it dedicated from them to have that like showpiece piece of hardware, like if you're a core console enthusiast, you go buy that and it's going to run your games better than any fucking thing else because it's dedicated to that, unless you go and buy a $2,000, $3,000 PC. Like I think that is going to still be a core component, and I think that's where they're headed with this. And I think there's going to be innovations with some surprising aspects too. So,
And if they, I agree. I didn't mean to cut you off there.
No, you're
thought
good.
You were done. Apologize. And I think, Matt, to your point, and the points that we've always made about they've got the infrastructure now built, and they mentioned it throughout this as far as crossplay, cross-save, playing wherever you want to play. If they can unlock the secret, if they can unlock the secret sauce that bridges the gap, Matt, between and gives access, makes one box along with a handheld that we've heard about that appeals to that younger audience, right? That plays a lot of that. But this box that is a console, but it's now more PC like, but it's as convenient as a console. And these devices allow you to play all of your games, whether it's Xbox games, Steam games, whatever the case may, PC games, all in the same place. Very conveniently, if they can unlock the secret sauce, and like I mentioned before, mobile games. Somebody wants to play Diablo Immortal, all of a sudden they can play it on their big screen. If they can unlock that, then all of a sudden you interconnect all this infrastructure that you've created and all this accessibility that you talk about, and you create a device or a set of devices that really grabs a large amount of people, because people go, oh, I can play pretty much everything on this thing and I don't have to worry about it. They could have something special. Again, compelling what they're saying right here.
And then when we're talking about hardware too, there's these other considerations that are really important to our community, probably to each one of ourselves as well. When you talk about library, because I want to dig in on that a little bit more. You know, as we talk about cloud in the wider entertainment industry, there's conversations about streaming. How is that impacting how I own my content that I've invested in? So what can we say about our stance around game preservation?
Yeah, you know, one of the highlights for me of being in this position was getting to stand on stage when we announced back compat coming to Xbox One. Like, it was fantastic. People were reading the teleprompter before I could read it. I'm a slow reader, and just feeling the energy in the auditorium as we were saying that and online. You know, one of the cues I think us as being part of Microsoft take is looking at Windows and how Windows over decades has maintained software compatibility with things that are built on it. Like, I can still go back and play some of the games that I love playing on Windows from decades ago, and it will still run. And we try to bring that same view to consoles. It's harder in console because the line between what the hardware is and what the game is in consoles is traditionally, it's tighter, which makes compatibility, you end up doing these generational compatibilities that we've built. But I will say compatibility, the ability to not only play the games, but my saves are still there with our cloud save systems to try to keep the services up as long as we can so that people can play, is a tenet of what we are as Xbox. It's at our foundation. And when we look at future hardware generations and what we're gonna support, making sure that we respect, which is the word I use, respect the investments that people have made in Xbox going forward, is fundamental. And the fact that you get entitlements when you buy a game from us on both Windows and Xbox also means you have the ability to play that game across a multitude of devices, which I think furthers the compatibility of the games that you own.
Yeah.
Can we go back to what Xbox?
This is what, like, just what everything he broke down is why I was losing my shit with people saying that the digital library is going to disappear, and like they didn't have faith in all of that. It's like, out of all the companies to have added value and also to try and show that level of commitment to your library and your games that you've been purchasing, like Nintendo and PlayStation and all these things, like, we still, like I said before, we don't know if the Switch 2 is even going to be back compat, right? Like, it's still, because people even have to question it. It's not a guarantee. Like, PlayStation, there's way less compatibility there as well, right? Going forward, I hope they continue to get that right and innovate even beyond what they did with the PS5. But like, this is something we've championed because it's the most consumer friendly thing, right? It's especially going in the digital age. And that's one of the things that was the most baffling, like, because the comparison everybody's making was to PC, right? And that's cool, but like, this has been more of like a console based like aspect when people are losing faith in the storefront. So like, why is the comparison not to PlayStation and Nintendo there? If that's what people have been focused on losing faith in, what do you have more faith in, Microsoft's ecosystem and digital storefront purchases on console? Or do you have more faith in PlayStation going forward or Nintendo? Like, and actually being able to play your games. You know what I mean? So like, that's been an interesting thing for me to see. But like, Phil breaks it down, like, it's fucking fundamental for them. Like, that's a core element.
And it's the fucking point.
Yeah, he said it's fundamental.
It's
Like,
fucking fundamental.
he didn't say fucking fundamental, but he should have. He said it. He should have said it's fucking fundamental for us, because it is. It's fundamental for them, and respecting the purchases that you make. You know, like, and I really do feel like that's a core of kind of the Phil Spencer aspect that he's brought to Xbox when he started doing this. You know, the cross buy, cross progression, all that kind of stuff they keep talking about, but also like compatibility, like he said. I've said it numerous times to talk about forward compatibility, like making sure that, you keep in mind that the games you buy today will operate on the systems you buy in the future, right?
Mhm.
And that's super important to me, because we live in a fucking digital age, man. Like, but libraries, like 1,000 games and stuff. Like, so I'm saying, everybody that was easily jumping ship on all this stuff because of the potential of a game going to another system, like, look at everything they've been doing for your digital library ecosystem above the other console platforms, and understand the core aspect of what they're saying here and how that benefits you as a consumer. That's it.
It's fair. It's just that obviously the people that were really concerned about it, Mav, may be Xbox only players, so they don't care what the other people are doing because
Right.
they're only on Xbox, right? So, but I understand your point.
But they're not
We've been
going to stop making hardware either. You know what I mean?
They're not. Well, none of us thought that
Yeah.
either. Those of us that were level-headed never thought that they were going to go away from hardware at all. Again, it's just the people project out a lot, right? And they project far out. And again, the argument is, well, if they stop or if they start diminishing the Xbox brand, whether that's your opinion or not, if they start to diminish the Xbox brand, these people obviously believe it will, then people are less inclined to buy the hardware. And they're potentially, for a corporation like Microsoft and even for a billion-dollar company like Xbox, come a point where the hardware no longer makes sense to produce. And then what do we do? But again, that's people projecting further out than I think that anybody rational thought they were going to go right now. Again, I don't think anybody really, none of us believed that they were just going to have a business update event today and say we're going third party. We're closing down the hardware business. Like, that never thought that. None of the rumors, even Halo and the Gears rumors, didn't make me think that they were going to still stop making hardware. As Steele said, it's still an access point, as we all talked. That's still and they've again reconfirmed it here. It's still going to be the best place to play your Xbox games, right? That they believe that internally. But again, even when the rumors were swirling, none of us thought that was going to just necessarily shut down. Just cause.
Yeah.
So, all right, we're almost done here, folks. By the way.
stands for today. I think we've pretty much covered all of the elements, but if you could break it down for me.
You know, when you play on Xbox, what we're saying is you're playing on a platform where you know the biggest games in the world are always going to be. You're playing on a platform where you get to access Game Pass. And all of the games from our incredible range of studios will always launch in Game Pass day one.
Reconfirmed again.
And you're playing on a platform that's dedicated to you, like player-first features, cross-play, cross-save, cross-progression, backwards compatibility, being able to play your games in your library anywhere you want because of the investments that we make in cloud gaming. And so you're playing somewhere where you're investing and you know you get to take the games forward with you and across all of the screens where you are. And I think most importantly, Xbox is a place where you know when you're investing in Xbox, you're investing somewhere that is dedicated to making games more successful and creators more successful so that they can invest more to bring even better experiences to you all of the time.
She's an effective
Yeah,
speaker.
just
She's
that
incredible.
investment in the studios is so, and we feel that as part of first party with the platform proximity. You know, it's kind of amazing now to look out across all the studios that we've got and just be reminded that we're now one of the biggest development organizations in the industry.
Yep.
What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up.
Yeah. Okay. So 20. Can you
He's
like
got-
this
yeah,
little?
I'll repeat it.
I
I'll
want to know
repeat
what
it.
exactly the words he just said again. Yeah.
Yep.
Because this was one of the key things, and I was like, "What did he just say?"
Oh yeah, he said it.
What does that mean for players? It means that the biggest games are going to continue to come to Xbox. And this 2024, the year coming up, we've got more than 10 major releases coming up. Great stuff. Hellblade 2. We've got Diablo expansion. We've got Avowed, Ara, the Indiana Jones game. And there's more in development, which I think we're going to be able to share more about at our June showcase coming up pretty soon.
Well, I guess I should get ready to work on that show. Well, thank you all for showing up on the podcast today, and we'll see the rest of you this June.
Yeah.
Thanks, Tina.
Thank you.
All right.
So yeah,
Well-
even if he's including expansions, which he counted Diablo expansion as one, right? So
Yes. So he'll probably count the DLC for Starfield as a one potentially.
yeah, Call of
Oh,
Duty would
that
be
w-
one, obviously, right?
Call of Duty would be one, so that's 7.
And then he said there's some more things to announce at the June
Mhm.
showcase.
Mm-hmm. I mean, he didn't touch on, is the flight sim considered major? Again, he didn't talk about the
Yeah.
small. He didn't talk about Towerborn. He didn't talk about Towerborn. I don't
Mhm.
know if he counts Towerborn. Right? I don't know.
Maybe Aura, like at
He did say.
yeah, he did say Aura. Okay,
Yep.
I think that game's actually, that's a pretty fucking impressive game.
Oh, it's gonna be impressive. It's
Yeah, like just out of
It's
it.
niche. It's for
Yeah.
us. We're happy.
Mhm.
But no, so overall thoughts on the show for those of us that didn't join us before, Mav, go ahead. What now that we've watched it back again, you got to watch it back. Yes, we paused and stuff, but again, we thought it was important to do this way. So, but Mav, now that you've seen it again, got to catch up on, pick up on the little things. What's your overall thoughts? How they did this, and your feeling, that you came out of this with everything they said. Any big points for you outside of what we already kind of hit on at all?
Just like Xbox is like people jumping off ledges, guys. Like the Xbox is double. Like they didn't make all those investments and all this stuff to just like say, you know what, here, we're just kind of like giving up a little bit. I think some of the moves they're making is interesting. Like I kind of agree with you. Like they don't have to do some of those things they're doing, like because there are putting some games on other platforms, right? So that is now a fact, beyond just what they've done in the past, but they also already have a ton of games on other platforms. And so like that for me was like, I don't really care, but leaving it at the 4 now, but also leaving it open to possibilities in the future. I do think in the long run that question will still remain. People will ask those questions like what games, blah, blah, blah. But I think what they've done and what they try to do is say, even if that happens in the future, even if we decide to put another game there in the future or whatever, Xbox is here to stay. You're still getting hardware. Your library and your ecosystem is still going to keep improving and building out. And all you people jumping off ledges for this are just ridiculous, right? So, ultimately, I also think a lot of the information we got, I think was obviously smoke, right? There because of considerations and talking points and stuff. But I think there was way too much of BS information out there that was stirring up controversy to the point of causing kind of this chaotic community aspect. Now, did Xbox kind of let it get out of hand? You know, they could have said something, but I think the reason they didn't is because they had these announcements of other things that with the games that they're doing. Same reason he couldn't say the 4 specific games today, right? They can't just completely dispel the rumors and say they're all not true because some of them are, right? But then it's like, okay, we can't announce what the games are. So do we just come out and denounce every game that isn't? But like, what if a couple years from now we decide that we are going to do that game? So like they're kind of stuck in a rock and a hard place right there. And I feel like this kind of event was the right way to kind of discuss it. Like people were criticizing them over doing like a podcast format and stuff. No matter what we got though before, like it was going to be PR. This is going to be corporate as hell. You know what I mean? It's going to be scripted questions, pretty much scripted answers, and a little bit like maybe like, you know, kind of off the cuff stuff here and there. But ultimately, you know, is what it is. And that's what I expected. But I think the job that they did overall, delivering the message, even if just judging based on the internet, because I've been kind of looking at all of this stuff over with it from like a overhead kind of view, kind of everybody's reactions about everything ever since this stuff kind of started, because I'm emotionally I'm okay here. Like it doesn't bother me either way what they do. I just know I'm still going to play on an Xbox because that's what I like, right? But seeing everything, seeing the reactions from everybody today, it means that they did a good job delivering this message, because everybody's happy for the most part, but they still announced that there's 4 games going multi-platform, right? So they somehow among all this fucking chaos and all this since January building up to today, they managed to come out from today with a huge fucking win, which is crazy impressive. And we talked about this earlier, that they had so many eyes on them today from so many different people. Like every fucking games media was tuned into this thing. Everybody was just glued trying to figure out what's going on. Is this the death of Xbox? Because some of these morons don't even understand enough about Xbox and the games media to understand what they were trying to do in the first place. They didn't even know that the games were even fucking playable everywhere today. Like, it's just absolutely bonkers what's been going on around there. But they paid attention today. They paid attention, and they fucking understand what it's all about now, and they can finally learn something about what it is. And I feel like more than anything, what ended up happening today in a weird twist of fate is Xbox got to market the hell out of their brand and what it stands for to the entire gaming industry, because they had the center stage. In a weird twist of fate, they got to let all that chaos, all these insiders spreading misinformation, all this bullshit, all this stuff, all this games media running with things, turn it and flip it around to where so much eyeballs are on them, and they say, fuck you, let me tell you what Xbox is all about. Here's our dicks on the table. This is what it is. We're not going anywhere. We got ABK now. Those are coming to Game Pass day 1 as well. So everybody who thought that wasn't happening, you can suck it also, and we're going to fucking still be one of the biggest players, because they said this numerous times, one of the most powerful development houses, one of the biggest publishers in the industry, and continue to make hardware despite, even if you don't want them to. They are saying, fuck you, we don't care. We got all this shit, and we're making games, and we're putting it everywhere for everybody. And guess what? We're also putting the shit in Game Pass day 1. Suck it. How about them apples? We just twisted this shit on you. You're the sucker. That's what they did today. It was crazy. I have not seen this big of a fucking turnaround from a one opinion drastic to the next from a corporation to having to deliver a message. And that is what they did today. And I got to give special props to Sarah Bond because her, like, it was like she was the one giving the goods right here, right? Like, delivering the little nuggets, like 34 million Game Pass or whatever. Then there's like, okay, oh, hey, most powerful hardware ever, next generation, you know, or like biggest leap ever in a generation or whatever. Game Pass games day one for ABK, like all these different things. Like, it is like, holy shit, like this is like this little business update event thing, but we're getting all this, and then plus we got Diablo 4's like Game Pass day as well. So like, all the other stuff, man, is like, I didn't give a shit if the other game came to another platform all along. For me, this is like, I wanted to learn why, like, isn't some of these other things that people are freaking out about true? Are they going to take Game Pass away and all that kind of stuff? Are they going to remove day and date, or like what's going on with all that stuff? Because there's so many people talking about that shit. And it's like, no, it was all bullshit, man. It was all bullshit. Bullshit. Meant to create this, as Game Pass Dad says in his videos all the time, fervor in the community that has just spiraled out of control. And they have just taken that energy and the attention and slam dunked it on the community. And pretty damn insane.
Well, I agree with some of you. Right, obviously. And again, for me, this was the confident talk that they needed to have. Again, I'm not going to sugarcoat this like this was some great insight that they gave us. Again, they're not, I said it all along, they weren't going to give us a roadmap. They're not going to give us specifics. I said that some questions would be answered. Some wouldn't be answered. And we probably left with some questions as well. I think all that kind of happened. This was PR talk, corporate
100%.
talk. But I said, as PR corporate talk goes, with the format that they chose to use, because Phil and Sarah and even Matt now, as he gets more and more comfortable being in front of the camera, do have some very personable ways of speaking, very effective ways of speaking, each one in their own right. This did its job in spades, right? Even if, to me, the door has now been cracked, right? That the 4 games, as Phil said, are a test and that they are going to learn from the 4 launches that they make. And I do believe there are going to be future launches, that it's not going to be limited to these 4 right down the road. Even if I believe all that, again, for me, this is exactly what they needed to do. They doubled down on all the major points. They doubled down on Game Pass. Day one games coming from Xbox are going to continue to be that way. They doubled down with ABK, saying the ABK games are coming day one to Game Pass. And, right, they doubled down on Game Pass itself only being available to Xbox, and they're not going to share it with anybody else. Now, do I think for a minute that if Nintendo or PlayStation come to Phil and say, hey, we're kind of interested in that Game Pass you got, what can we work out, that they aren't going to do it? No, they are going to do it. Again, I'm a realist. Again, I don't fanboy over this stuff or put my blinders on, right? I understand this is business, and Phil definitely told everybody that this is business at the end of the day, and a lot of these decisions are being made on business. But for me, for the community that was just in shambles, and it's still kind of in shambles, okay? Because now there's a big infighting of a different kind, because now we got people going after everybody else because people are taking victory laps. For the community itself, for the brand itself, they came out and really put a nail in it and said, listen, not a nail in the coffin, but they nailed in the home sweet home sign that people put up in their homes that they first purchased. It said, we're here to stay.
Yeah.
We're here to stay. We're not moving. We're not leaving. We are here to stay. And we are here to stay for the foreseeable future. And that's what they needed to do today. And I think they did a great job. I love the format. I just, again, rewatching it now, this is my third time watching it back again, really enforced all my initial thoughts. Again, I come from a little bit different perspective on a couple different issues, but overall, did this tell me that Xbox is going third party by next gen? No, it didn't. Did it tell me that they are going to push forward with their vision? Yes, it did. Do I believe that some of the rumors were true? Yes, I do. I do believe that some of that stuff was being discussed. I do believe that the outcry I do believe there was a high level leaker who did give up the goat to some people in the community on purpose to create it, as Mev said, to show some people in that boardroom that response so that they backed off. I still think that they're moving towards a future, like Phil said, 5 to 10 years where exclusives become less and less in this industry, just like Sony will. Nintendo will be the lone holdout, I believe, until the bitter end, but it doesn't matter. Between PlayStation and Xbox, Xbox is still going to be first out the gates with this kind of initiative, but I think they did slow down. And I think they might have given pause to a couple of the decisions they were going to make on things like Starfield and such. But that doesn't matter at the end of the day. What matters is that they're going to continue to make hardware. They are shooting for the moon with the next hardware, which is all I needed to hear. You sound like you're going to make some compelling hardware. That's all I care about, because compelling hardware, even if I'm playing a little bit more on my PC, still love the convenience of a console. If you could bridge that gap, or even if you just make something I go, ooh, I got to have that Xbox because all my games are in there, we're good, I will go get the next gen as well. They did all of that. And again, safely for me, the biggest one is the Game Pass stuff, because I am a budget gamer, because I love Game Pass. I am one of those people who grazes enough where Game Pass for me is the biggest value ever in gaming, and I don't want to give that up. I don't want to see it change, even though I had a creeping suspicion that they might go in that direction because it's an easy business move to make. The fact that they're saying not today, that's all I needed to hear. So great job, Phil, Sarah, and Matt. You guys all knocked it out of the park. You guys each spoke fluently as much as you could from each one of your divisions that you oversee, and gave us each a really unique individual kind of perspective from that position about what is happening for the future of Xbox. Again, great layout. Got to shout out Tina Amini again, the whole crew that put this together. The flow was incredible. How they transitioned from topic to topic between each one of them, which then included that part of Xbox.
And it was short too, right?
It was short,
you got
minutes,
a lot of information, like about what they wanted to do in a short format. We got a lot of super chats to catch up on Pong.
Go ahead.
Man. All right. Let me make sure I find my place. RC Polygons with a $10 super chat says, I believe it was Matt Booty said about future studios joining Xbox family and have to set up their cross-buy and cross-saves. More studios joining Xbox. Sounds like more acquisitions coming.
I got the impression that he was talking about ABK there, because that they've got work to do to make sure the titles act the same way, right? I took it as ABK, but if you're speaking to me and Mav, more acquisitions are
definitely coming. Yeah,
they're not done.
We'll see what they are. I mean, who knows? But I mean, they said numerous times, but I think they have paused, slowed down a little bit with it, just because of where the industry kind of has with all the other conversations they had about
where regulators are.
Hi-Fi Rush on PlayStation or Nintendo is going to pay for the next acquisition, so they'll take the 500 million they make from the 100 million Switches and people buying Hi-Fi Rush out there. Anyway, also we got Bold Alpha Wolfpack with the $5 says, do I think all of the 50 plus dev teams at Xbox Game Studios will do exclusives just for Xbox? No. Do I think the lion's share will? Yes. It's gonna be interesting to find out. I think over time things are always going to transition and change, as the whole industry does, right?
I think one of the big conversations that people have had too, Mav, that I think is valid as well, is that timed exclusivity becomes a bigger player,
thing.
right?
Yeah.
A bigger thing, because Phil did kind of give us like the guidelines they're looking at bringing other games more than
Over
a year.
over a year old met their like
Right.
kind of cap. Right.
So if that could be like not like day and date, like stuff first party going necessarily everywhere, but a slow transition where timed exclusivity, a year, 2 years from the time of launch, they do start seeing more and more go over there. I could see that as well.
Yeah.
For sure.
And then Bold Alpha Wolfpack gifted 10 more fun speculation memberships.
10 bomb. Let's go. Mach 3.5, everybody. Make sure you check those harnesses for the two. Yeah, I know that looked bad. For the 2 cars that were just added to the Fun Speculation Network hype train. As you board those cars at Mach 3.5, make sure you take your seats immediately. Put out any cigarettes, throw away your drinks, and get in your seats and buckle up because the hype train is rolling to a town near you. Let's go. Choo-choo, motherfuckers. Let's go. Ad-free 2024.
Right on, man. Bold Alpha Wolfpack then with a $5 super chat.
Nice.
Wait, no, already got that one. Sorry. With a $10 super chat. Man, Bold Alpha Wolfpack.
Bold Alpha.
Choo. It says, do a 2D fighter that's as technical as Tekken with all the iconic characters from World of Warcraft. I'll buy whatever mobile they'll come up with to play it on breaks. Yeah, 100%. I would also like to see more fighting games come out. Like I remember back in the day, like PS2 era and shit, like PS1 era, there was like so many fucking random like fighting games coming out all the time, and some of them were
Bloody
awesome.
Roar.
Yes,
Bloody Roar. Bring it back.
Clay fighters.
Clay fighters. Yeah, of course.
Primal Rage.
Primal Rage was great with the dinosaurs. Let's go.
RC Polygons, $5 super chat. Says, I'm fine with Xbox sending their smaller titles like Hi-Fi Rush and games of service games. Xbox will still have big exclusives like Starfield and Indiana Jones, right? And when they say exclusive become less and less, I think that's going to evolve over time, right? And I think for a long time, it's going to be those tentpole, big single player, like major franchise games, right? That are going to be the draws, right? That are going to remain exclusive. Now, the question is, like we talked about before, with the timed exclusivity, what does that morph into? And I think it's more than just Xbox is going to eventually do this. Like,
yeah.
So we'll get into that in a little bit here.
And there's still the unknown if they even find success, Mav. When if they don't find success? What if it doesn't drive any numbers?
Then it's like, well,
right?
That was
right.
Or just recouping the extra development costs, and that's it.
Right.
It doesn't really help anything. Yeah.
There's no guaranteed success. So,
right. That's why I said they're going to learn from this. RC. Wait, hold on. Michael Mooney with a £2 super chat says Playground is due a title, so maybe Fable. What do you mean by that?
For 2024.
Oh, okay.
Part of the 10. Fable's further out. Fable's 2025 or 2026.
Yeah, I would think 2025 probably, but we'll have to wait and see. Why it's so serious with the $5 super chat? It says they tried to destroy Xbox, but instead made them even stronger.
Nice.
Yeah, that man.
It's
It was like a huge celebration today. It's crazy. Like it's all like there's fucking Twitter parades. There's parades. I literally saw comment parades. Like it's just I've never seen it before. People dancing in the streets on X. This is crazy. I see celebrations. It's like Mardi Gras today after the business update event.
Let's say this too, man. Let's take it internally to Xbox real quick too. Let's just assume for this point of conversation here.
Yeah.
That my belief that there was an internal battle struggle going on, that there are numbers guys in the room fighting for more third party than first party. Let's say that this uproar, let's say these leaks were real. not all of them, because I do think some of them were just added on for effect, but let's say that some of them were real, and this uproar did help in some way internally, or that Phil, Sarah, and Booty, who we believe would be on the side of more status quo for the time being, let us see our vision through that we started, especially Phil, who started this whole thing. Let's say that it did give it the push it needed, and they did win out internally. Just for them, this made them stronger for the time being. And to your point earlier, Mav, and a point that we have talked about often, but you brought it up earlier, they have nothing to lose at this point. They can go in a totally new direction with the hardware. They can go all in, because if they did win this battle and Satya, let's say Satya was the deciding factor, which would make sense as head of Microsoft, and he sided with Phil and the Xbox team and said, let's give their vision a shot. Well, then you've got even more pull for the time being to go do what you need to do, because Phil just goes to Satya and go, okay, balls to the wall. Here we go. Let's go. I need this R&D budget. We are going all out. We are going to make the best place to play here across all these devices. We could be the winners at the end of the day, even if eventually it changes course or it morphs and it continues to evolve into something different that people kind of were upset about these past couple of weeks. For the time being, as gamers, we win because we keep Game Pass. We get all the games day one from everywhere. And all of a sudden, we get new freaking compelling hardware that we didn't expect to see next gen out of Xbox. Yeah. We win.
The hardware thing's interesting because like stuff keeps coming up with the other stuff, the article interviews and things like that. So there's some interesting things here that we may have never gotten before if they didn't acquire ABK and become this monster that they are now, right? Like, remember we had leaked documents about what some of their visions were, but it was out of reach for what they had the budgets for. Whether it was out of budget, out of scope. Remember? Now they're a different little bit of a beast now with ABK. And all of a sudden, some of these things that were a little bit out of scope with the increased budgets and the increased amount of revenue they have coming in and all these different things, maybe all of a sudden some of these things are in scope, or they're like, well, now with this massive treasure trove of studios we have, it makes sense to find more gamers to invest into that ecosystem that we're building, because anybody who buys one of our devices, we make more money on, right? As opposed to another device where they make potentially less money on, unless you go and get one of those ROG Ally type devices and stuff for people using Windows Store, right? If they do choose to use Windows stores, hence also some of the other conversations they have about streamlining the operating systems and doing extra work on those kind of devices to help benefit those to succeed. So I think we're in store for lots of innovation with hardware. A little bit of point of contention that we've had, Pong, mainly, right? I think, and where we disagree, I think most, right, is that I think you believe that the leaker was more real, that the information may have changed the decision from Xbox on some of the titles, potentially.
Potentially, yes.
Right.
Absolutely, yes.
And I'm more in the belief that I think whoever it was spreading information, which I think there is somebody that was putting stuff out there, was just fucking wrong about some of this stuff, right? They had a piece of the puzzle. They didn't have the whole thing, right? And I think overall, what's happened, like at the end of the day, everybody's good, right? Right now, you know, people that were insiders and putting information out without maybe doing great source checking or figuring stuff out, right? Or doing extra due diligence, putting information out, they can still look like, you know what? Well, guess what? We put this info out there. The community raised a stir, and they're not putting Starfield and Indiana Jones out there, right? So they can come across as like the heroes. Like,
that was a problem.
We'll never know the truth, right? Nope. Unfortunately, which we talked about before a couple times, that because of how all this went down, we'll never 100% know exactly what happened. But all we can kind of go by is what they tell us, right? Based on the information of what they told us here, the scope of the kinds of games they're looking at, I would be more inclined to say that the ideas for those other bigger games were more on the back burner of just ideas or thoughts and not really ready to go. Because if you had a game like Starfield, I think that would have been a big decision for them to make, right? That would have been a big decision for them to put that on PlayStation. And I think that would take development resources as well and all that kind of stuff.
They had already been developing for PS5
before, but, you know, like, still, they have to finish it out. Plus, also, they have the DLC that they got to, you know, finish that out for it as well.
Correct.
They've done numerous updates on Xbox and all that kind of stuff, right, as well.
Mm-hmm.
To put that on PS5 would have taken some resources and time. You know, Todd may have been happy about it. Who knows, right? Like, Bethesda team.
Phil also said he wanted to make Starfield the biggest game Todd had ever put out
Right.
before, Bethesda had ever put out before.
But because of the community reaction, now you just take that all away on something that was supposed to potentially happen this year. That is what I don't buy.
Okay.
Right? I don't see
Fair.
a situation where they had made that tough decision, had Bethesda do this work and work on this stuff, and say that is something that's supposed to potentially happen this year, and say, no, never mind, right? Because of this. And I don't think anybody out there could ever convince me that that's a decision that they would make, especially when it comes to messing with Bethesda Game Studios, right? For me, as like them, I just wouldn't want to fuck with them. Like, I want to keep them happy. You know what I mean? Like, especially Todd Howard and all of his teams and stuff like that, as much as possible. And that's where I'm like, okay, when Nate the Hate went and did his extra due diligence, right? He retracted. Other people doubled down. So there's different levels of information out there, different people, different sources, who I think whoever this was, putting a lot of the stuff out there, had a piece of the puzzle, because there's some right information in there. But the Starfield concrete thing is happening this year, I think was never a thing. I think consideration could be like used, right? Because they're looking at a lot of things, you know. But we'll never know, man. Like, it could have been this huge, big, like, infighting thing, and like it could have been the leaker, like, hey, look what I did, you know, cheer on Xbox. We took some of the bigger exclusives back. And the community will thank me later for it, you know. But like, we'll never fucking know. But to my core belief, I've lost a little bit of something with some of the people that have been putting information out there. Like, I just gotta be real. Like, some of the people that have been putting some of the shit out there and putting these random games and all this random information and letting things snowball out of control. And then the Game Pass rumors started. Then all these other shit started. And it's like,
now you're getting emotional about the league.
I'm getting emotional about the community.
Right. You're getting emotional about, yes.
It's the community. Because I feel like this whole fucking thing was a disservice to the gamer community that supposedly these people care about.
This community fosters console wars, man. Come on.
It's your fucking audience, man. It's your fucking audience. Why would you fuck with your audience like that?
That's why I don't think it was. That's why I think it's real.
I don't know. I think it's horse shit.
When you've got Cog saying something that he knows it was legit, that it was a legit source.
And I respect Cog, right?
Cog doesn't do this shit.
Yes,
right?
I know.
So
the person giving him that info because of the same person, like, so what if that person is not?
But he said it was very reliable, and then the last stand, he said that he believes it was high level. It was coming from a high level source, somebody who would know.
But that person is not reliable anymore. That whoever the reliable person was, they're not reliable anymore, right? that person is no longer reliable because guess what? They just got thrown under the fucking bus. Okay? Like whatever happened.
When does Phil?
Phil go up there and just completely lie his face off about the games they were considering and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, maybe. You know, I don't know.
I'm saying, what is it? I'm just saying, I think that the conversations were to a tipping point, and I think somebody did something drastic. And I
Yeah.
could see that happening. And that, again, the vision that was laid down by Phil and others to turn Xbox around, to go all this way, Mav. And like I said, the ABK deal could have been a deal with the devil that brought too much spotlight from the numbers guys on Xbox. But the fact is, you work so hard. If you're a part of Phil's inner circle that has worked all these years to turn Xbox around, to make a difference in a space that you believe in, and you get to the pinnacle with all these acquisitions, finally see a way to actually fulfill that entire vision, and all of a sudden the number guys step in, and all of a sudden it becomes an infight, and all of a sudden there's questions about which direction. Oh, maybe we go in a whole new philosophy. If you were one of those people, would you just walk away and say, well, they're going to do what they're going to do? Or would you try to something drastic to get your vision back on track? I think you'd probably try something drastic.
It's interesting that, you know, it's a conspiracy theory. We'll never know, man.
We'll never know.
All we know is what they actually told us.
Yep.
And what they
absolutely.
actually told us, I don't feel like, I don't know. You
That's
know?
fine. No, that's fine. And I'm happy with what they told us. And whatever happened, the only thing we do know is what they told us today, and what they told us today was pretty good shit. So,
right.
Again,
Jasper coming through with the facts in the chat, too. Love this. So this was the point I was making before. What leaker leaks to like 20 different YouTubers? That's dumb. You put such a high chance of getting exposed, and that's just dumb. Yeah, that is true as well. Especially since you're committing corporate espionage, or you're breaking NDA or whatever. But like at the end of the day, like the way it went down. Oh, I'm going to tell this game to this person. Oh, I'm going to tell this game to this person. Or I'm going to tell this game to this person.
We don't know. That's the side where the conspiracy, where I don't always agree with. And I think because we know how many people talk to each other, that it only took one or two people to DM one or two other people saying, this is who said it, and this is reliable. And then it spread that way. I don't necessarily think the leaker went to each individual.
Yeah, like so they're only each going to have a piece of the puzzle, though?
No, because there was again, I don't believe all the pieces. I don't believe the Gears stuff, right? I don't
But that was Grubb, right?
Right. Grubb said that Gears, he had heard Gears was discussed, right? I don't believe that.
Okay, so who did he hear from? But that's what I'm talking about it being irresponsible. Right.
The only thing I believe in is obviously the Hi-Fi Rush, the Sea of Thieves, and the Starfield stuff. That's the only stuff I believe.
Yeah, but and then fucking Xbox are like so concrete about the Starfield thing.
I understand.
And then Nate the Hate retract it. The Xbox era doubled down.
But Nate the Hate is the least person I would ever listen to.
But he's the first one to say Hi-Fi Rush. He was the first one to break
because of the data leaks. Because of the data leaks. Because of the data leaks. That's why. That's where he got him from. Anyways, it doesn't matter. Like I said, if this is our only disagreement, I don't. Again, for me, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter because we're never going to know the truth unless somebody writes a tell-all book. Which again, I hope Phil does when he walks away eventually.
Man, that 2024 thing was pretty fucking crazy. Let me tell you, I had Special Nick on speed dial. I had Grubb. I had all these people. They were just doing my bidding to get Satya's ear. I turned the whole Xbox community into fucking a hate mob. And then all of a sudden, I sat on a chair next to Sarah and Matt, and I flipped the script on those bitches, and I won. Yeah, if we get a tell-all book like that, that would be a fucking story. Let me tell you right now. But I think more than likely, whoever it was just mostly wrong. Mostly wrong, spreading the information.
And again, overall, I will continue to say you all, or I expect that almost all of you in this community are adults. You are responsible for your reactions. And I'm not going to flip out about the leakers. I'm not going to flip out about the content creators who did it. I'm not going to flip out about any of that shit because you're all responsible for your reactions. I remained level-headed. I had discussions with you guys in the background about what ifs if they were to go this route, but I was never emotional about it because again, I've detached myself from that type of loyalty, and it didn't upset me either way. I just had concerns about certain things about how they were going to do this,
Mhm.
but overall it didn't matter to me. So I'm not going to get up there. Again, everybody did it for their own purpose, whatever the reason was. Even the people that faked it for clickbaits had their reason. But again, this community fosters console warring.
Yeah.
Again, you play with negative energy all the fucking time. And I'm not talking about everybody here. Not everybody's into it. A lot of people hate it like I do. But a community that does that,
Yeah.
again, it was massive. And again, the sustained effort from some people to continue with it was shocking to me at some points. But at the same time, that's the energy
Yeah.
around here, man. So it is what it is. It is what it is.
And I like Tom Warren, right? But I'm
Yeah.
gonna throw him under the bus right now. Okay.
Mhm.
Because his last tweet not his last one, I don't know, but one I saw earlier today about quoting his interview with Phil. And like the quoted part is like, Phil won't rule out Indiana Jones and Starfield, like, or whatever. Okay. You expect them to say it will never happen? That is not news. They are never going to say that something is never going to happen, right? They're never going to come out there and be like, we're going to close the door on this right now, right? Forever. That's just irresponsible for any company to make on it as a decision.
No.
They just know that's the same thing as the FTC asking for Call of Duty in perpetuity. You know what I mean? Like forever. You know, they don't make forever decisions today as a message to anybody, right? So to see like leaving the door open, of course, anything can ever fucking happen. But for them to go and write these articles asking about every game, about every possible thing, is it possible one day this game shows up? Well, I mean, we don't have any plans for it, but what are we supposed to say? You know, what do you want them to say to you? No, it's never going to happen. Like, what if 10 years from now it does happen? At the end of the day, that's a different future. Like, they're not going to say no to everything. But is it more possible after today's news? Maybe, right? But to lead with all these articles like clickbait stuff about like every game is now an open door and here's this game and here's this game. It's the same thing you were fucking doing, putting the information out there about the games that were just considered to begin with. It's fucking farming for your fucking clicks, and it's not any relevant actual news. It's not.
No, but we already know this is what journalism has been reduced to, sir, along with podcasts and everything else. To some degree, it's all been reduced to that type of click behavior by certain people. It is what it is. That's how they make their money, and they're going to write. And the unfortunate part is that's part of the double-edged sword that Xbox created by being community focused versus PlayStation and Nintendo. I hate the fact that nobody ever writes an article. Wouldn't it be great if Spider-Man comes to Xbox? Like, again, I understand that people scream hypocrisy. The thing is that's because PlayStation and Nintendo don't say a damn thing. They don't say a damn thing. They don't give you any impression either way. People just assume that the history is telling you the future when it comes to those two companies. In a lot of ways it has. And there will never be that question until the day that they actually decide to come out and name one of those specific big titles going third party. Then the conversation will happen. But until that day, it'll just be assumed that it's business as always. But with Xbox, because they have said so much, because you know, Phil and others have directly answered community members because of all that, which I love.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I love it. But that comes with a double edge, because then people have questions because there's so much of you talking out there that even with corporate speak, sometimes questions can wiggle in. And this community, when it comes to the Xbox community specifically, is very fragile because they don't have the surety that the PlayStation and Nintendo community have about what those companies are doing. And again, we're starting to see cracks in the PlayStation community. Why? Because they're finding out that Sony is starting to change too. Sony slowly but surely is saying things that is giving them pause. And we are starting to see some cracks over there. But the Xbox community has unfortunately been a case where they don't know what to believe sometimes, just because of the directions that have happened, because of the Donnie D's of Xbox, because of all the things that have almost happened to Xbox over the years or have happened. There is a fragility to the Xbox community, and I
Yeah.
understand it.
That's
why I didn't.
Jez's
No.
article was kind of about that before, where he wrote
Yeah.
about that. You know, I feel like I mean, we're joking around about the business update event thing, but it's like almost like, you know, it's almost like this that sometimes the Xbox community just has to have constant like confirmation. You know
They
what I
do.
mean? And it's
They do.
like it is so weird. Like, and then maybe it comes from, you know, some of the things in the past, but also there's a lot of information that's spread out there and put out there by games media and all that kind of stuff
Correct.
that adds to that insecurity about the brand and where they're going and what they're doing. And to have them have to sit up there and just reiterate what we already all know is still weird to me, but I feel like they did a better job than they've ever done before doing it today. And I think maybe because as many eyes were on them, that hopefully the message for people that don't understand what Xbox ecosystem and brand is all about, finally fucking learn, right? Because there's good games and there's good value. And it's an enjoyable experience for the people that like it. And that's all that really matters at the end of the day. And if you like it, you do. If you don't, you don't. And there's lots of options for people out there, man. But for me, whatever happened today, it's not going to change that.
Nope.
Was not going to change how I enjoy playing on my box that I play games on.
Nope.
Like that never fucking made sense to me. But we got some super chats to catch up on.
Well, just real quick, I will also say before you read those, because I'm gonna dip for a second here, but there is a little sweetness to today's talk as well. For those that were taking victory laps, again, those that are smarter than the rest of us in this community, those that have us that the economics don't work out and that Game Pass is unsustainable, and they were already taking their victory laps.
They're bankrupt, Pong.
Yeah, all the decisions had been made because they were telling us the correct thing, that Game Pass wasn't making enough money, unsustainable. The fact that they can reconfirm that everything is coming day one, and that will include Call of Duty at some point, whether it's this year or next year, depending on the marketing rights. You guys took victory laps too early as well. So congratulations. You got to eat some crow as well.
Oh, and our one of our favorite people to make fun of and spoof here, choo choo motherfuckers, right?
Yeah.
You know, Starfield, baby. Oh yeah, Starfield. Oh, I told you guys, Starfield's coming to PlayStation. I was right all along. Starfield's coming to PS5. Oh boy.
He did his best to spin it. He spun it today.
Oh, what did he did? What did he do?
He definitely said that it was 100% true. That it was coming and that they backtracked, and that the door obviously is cracked, as I've been saying, and that it'll eventually come. So he did spin it. He spun it his way.
If it comes 4 years later, too late, bro. You don't get credit for that. You don't get credit for it.
Shit. I'll be right back.
Right. Stay high. FFF hit us with a very super generous $20 super chat. Says tinfoil theory. What if Tim Dog was the mastermind all along? Spread the leaks, sacrificed himself to get all eyes on this so the community can do exactly what it did and potentially create a shift. Wouldn't that be crazy? So you're saying, what if Tim Dog was the leaker and the driver of the community to freak out with everybody, and not the original, and was the original source of everything? I don't know. But personally, no offense to Tim Dog, but I think we'd be giving him too much credit. Dan Lazaro with the $5 super chat says, I'm never gonna get over the fact the Xbox community was ripped apart by a guy named Nate, and he has a Nathan Drake avatar. It's pathetic. Also, just to keep in mind, Dan Lazaro, Nate is the one that at least retracted and took the L publicly, right? Now I agree, like putting it out there to begin with, and then adding to Xbox Era's report where they were so sure about Starfield, right? But then he was like, he at least went and did some extra due diligence. He actually went and did some homework, and he was like, oh, I was wrong. This isn't happening. I'm taking the L. I will give him credit for that because he could have just stayed silent and all of this kind of stuff right here today, like it just sat there with everybody else, and I was just part of it. I was just part of it, whatever. At least he came out and tried to tell us a couple of days ago that Starfield wasn't real. And then other people were like, oh yeah, it's still real. Yeah, 100%, 100%. I think whoever the leaker was, whoever the person was putting out that info was just wrong. Just personally, that's just what I think. I think they were just wrong, and they were spreading information and putting stuff out there. I don't think Microsoft makes that big of a drastic change in the same year they're supposed to do something that everybody said they were going to do. I don't think that happened. I don't think they just pulled back from that one decision. I think stuff's still on the table for the future. Who knows? They kind of tried to make that clear today as well. Like Pong said, leave the door open. Considerations about possible moves in the future. We don't know what those are going to be. Matt Booty said that as well, right? So yes, there may still be, this is going to be a transition thing with the industry where they are going kind of. But like, I think whoever was putting this stuff out there was like, crying wolf a little bit. They were crying wolf a little bit. And like, as long as they were reliable before, if they were reliable before, I would not trust that source a damn bit now. Whoever it is, I wouldn't trust that motherfucker. I'm just saying. I don't know who it is. I don't know who it is. But there seems to be like a lot of people were piggybacking on it, right? And unfortunately, we will never know unless somebody reveals who the source is and tells us everything. And I honestly, I don't think they're going to throw somebody that's trying to give them information out of the bus, but like, I think whoever it is, like, I really want to fucking know, and I want to know everything that went down, because it seems like some kind of weird attempt to fucking influence and manipulate the community. Like, it snowballed so much. I don't know what's going on 100%, but there was just weird shit, man. Just weird shit. And there's more than one person involved probably, but we'll see. Anyway, let's see. Geezer Prime with a $10 super chat. Geezer, what's up, Geezer? Xbox is dead to me. No, wait, what? Yeah. Xbox was dead to a lot of people just yesterday. Just a couple more days. It's a couple days ago. People leaving comments. No matter what happens, I've abandoned Xbox. I had somebody, and no disrespect to this person, but like, I have 1,200 games in my library. I will never trust them again. I'm moving on from it. Personal decision. You do you, bro. Right? But basing that decision on a lot of rumors from things that we didn't know 100% about, and then checking it to what the reality is today, where they're doubling down on the ecosystem. They're doubling down on the value of the ecosystem. They're doubling down on Game Pass. They're doubling down on hardware. You getting out now? We're just about to fucking eat over here. The buffet is just about to arrive. We are about to eat more good games than we have ever eaten before on Xbox in Game Pass. And you want to say no now because of some rumors? You're that weak about what you enjoy, what something you had thought that you enjoyed, that you actually bought 1,200 games? 1,200 games. This was an actual comment. That you're that upset about rumors that you're going to leave now, no matter what. Remember, this is no matter what they say. You can't trust them now. You can never trust Xbox now. to not enjoy the feast before our eyes that we're about to eat. Get out now? Now's the wrong fucking time to bail, dude. Like, like just look at what they're doing. All of this shit, all these games, all Game Pass, they want ABK games, like the hardware that stuff they're doing, everything that they're doing. And they're still keeping the core principles and fundamentals about what we've loved about Xbox and been championing over the years. But they're just adding so many more games to it. It's crazy. The value is crazy. And you're getting out now because of some rumors? Okay. You do you, bro. I'm going to be playing fucking games till the cows come home, man. And I'll be super happy. Berg Brizzle with the $2 super chat says, what do we do with the mustard hearts? Took me a while to understand what a mustard heart was. Now, I got to say, I have an issue with the term because I fucking love mustard.
So do
Okay?
Love all
In
kinds of
fact,
mustard.
I've probably eaten so much mustard in my life that I would say probably 75% of my heart is made out of mustard. So does that make me a mustard heart? I don't know. But what I've learned is it's weak-hearted, right? It is like easy to flip-flop. You know, you're not going to stand your ground. You're not going to have a stance. You know, you're not going to stand for something. As I was listening to King talk about this stuff. What do we do with the people that abandoned Xbox and all this stuff? Honestly, I could care less. If they're easily influenced so much to make a decision after saying they love something so much and these rumors and leaks come out and all of a sudden they don't, if they're easily that influenced for that kind of stuff, guess what? They're that easily influenced to come back. Flip-flop, like a fucking fish, man. Like catfish got out of a pond, and that's fine. You know, let them be a catfish.
Who cares?
Yeah, let them be them. Doesn't matter, right? Maybe, like I said numerous times, right, Pong? People got to learn to think for themselves sometimes, right? And I feel like sometimes, you know, like the influence of the community and some people in the community can play a big part on the way people see things and the view things. And this is why I think games media has a huge impact as well, because some people just are going to be sheep, right? It's just the way it is. So,
Again, people can make their own decisions. They're
Yeah.
adults. If they want to abandon 1,200 games,
Yeah.
they can abandon 1,200. I abandoned over 200 games on PlayStation. I don't have access to them. I don't own a PlayStation. I've got to over 200 games in my digital library on PlayStation. Okay, that was
Yeah.
my adult.
but you got
decision.
out at the right time, Pong.
It
mean-
is what it is, man. It
Like-
is what it is. Again, you understand. Nobody in 2024 doesn't understand what happens if you go all digital. This is the future. Again, if I quit my subscription to Spotify, I don't have it. I don't have access to them anymore. Yeah, I bought those games on PlayStation. I don't have access to them anymore. I didn't. That's a decision. I made an adult decision. I don't
Yeah.
fucking care. Again, that happens, man. Again, money you can't take with you anyways. So again, did I get entertainment out of those 200 games while I had them? Hell yeah, some more than others. Okay, that's it. I knew what I was doing.
Yeah.
I lost all my saves because I didn't keep my PS subscription. All my saves are gone, which is
Oh,
the
yeah.
stupidest fucking thing ever, but that nobody complains about. That still to this day Sony hasn't fixed. Why aren't there articles being written about that? I don't know.
Good question.
I don't know. So,
But people
again,
have more faith in the library and digital ecosystem there.
these are all adults out here, man. We all make our own decisions. And again, I could care less. If you want to jump ship, jump ship. I'll ride it out until if it's giving me value, I'll ride it all the way till the day that they pull Game Pass from me and say you can't have it anymore. Then I'll make a decision. But even if they told me they were doing it, I wouldn't jump ship before it happened. I'd still be grazing the hell out of all my games in Game Pass. That's just who I am.
Yeah.
That's the decision I make. So whatever.
Highlander 001 gifted 5 Fun Speculation memberships, bro. Thank you so much, Highlander.
The 5 bomb. He comes in with the easy layup, all net on the court, showing you how it's all done to keep the Fun Speculation Network ad-free in 2024. That's right. We're not going to be selling beans here, folks. No bags of beans for our chat. That's right. The 5 bomb, getting the hype train with all these super chats. I just noticed I looked down at the speedometer, Mav.
Yeah.
And it says Mach 5.0. We are at Mach 5.0. Everybody, do not fly out the windows. Make sure you stay seated through the entire ride. Please and thank you. We love you all. We don't want to lose any of you. Appreciate you all.
Keep your cell phones in your pockets, everybody. It's gonna be a wild ride. You don't want to have that going overboard. Pong, man.
Yeah.
PlayStation. You want to dive into PlayStation because we brought up you abandoned the digital library in the ecosystem there, right? But as far as a reason why you shouldn't feel too bad about that right now. Well, there was the information that came out about the PlayStation from the Hiroki Totoki, the new president, and there's not a big major existing franchise title coming out PlayStation until April of 2025 or so. So I did some math on that. So just to check my math, I went to about when God of War Ragnarok came out, which was the end of 2022 in November, right? So between December, just put this in perspective for all the people out there who used to say Xbox has no games, okay? Between December of 2022 and April of 2025, there was only one major franchise release for PlayStation, and that is Spider-Man 2.
Correct, sir.
And I said before to people like PlayStation had a first-party games problem. No, everything's good over here. What are you talking about? Again, December of 2022, between that date and April of 2025, Spider-Man 2. That's it.
Well,
major first party. He made a point to separate that. Existing. Yes. He made a point to say that, though, because that's what supposedly all their fans care about, right? Now, does that mean I'm not excited for some of the other games? I absolutely am. But those were the tentpoles. So the system sellers, those are the ones that everybody gets hyped about, all that kind of stuff, right?
Well, they're going to get hyped about Concord, though, right?
I don't think they will. Maybe
Sony first party.
Do you think? But I am actually curious. Do you think there will be hype around that game, or like besides the Twitter people that are trying like push it because it's PlayStation?
I don't know because we don't know what it is. Right. We haven't even seen it. We saw a hamburger.
But it's supposed to be out this year, Pong.
That's what I'm saying. That's why I get a lot of people missed the existing part.
I agree.
First party title, which could be Concord. It could be Fair Games, right? Which we saw last year.
That's next year, right? Fair Games, I think.
Is it confirmed for next year? I couldn't remember if they actually put a date on it or not. But again, I think they've got one this year. But the fact is that they are expecting their base that they have built around, to your point, Mav, those very specific titles, right? As first party, they are expecting them to get excited for a game like Concord. It is first party. It's not going to be the typical game that they put out that they, made their money on last generation and into this generation, but it is going to be a game they expect their fans, even their core fans, to come out and support. So, I mean, again, is that still good enough? No, of course it's not. In the grand scheme of things, they're reloading. We talked about this. They're reloading. They could not keep up that pace, especially with $300 million budgets. They have 4, 5, 6-year development cycles now. They were going to have to empty out the chamber at some point. They've done that. Spider-Man 2, great. One of your big franchises came out last year. Can you say that's a that's good. Yeah, that's good. Overall, no. Because again, if we're going by the circus, second and third party don't count. But now they do. So again, the goalposts have moved, which we always know will happen. So now everybody's happy because, hey, you got Final Fantasy VII Rebirth coming. You got Stellar Yams coming. Those two alone, people now say are first party because they're exclusives to console. And so they're okay, right? But yeah, I mean, Mav, let's break this down real quick. I'll read from VGC. Let's hear his exact quotes here. PlayStation's new chairman and Sony's current president was asked for his early assessment working directly with the games business during an earnings call on Wednesday and told listeners he believes studios can improve when it comes to business. If you go back and listen to some of our shows, Mav, this was a point that we talked about. And it was a point that I know for a fact, I don't remember how the conversation, but we were specifically talking about Jim Ryan leaving.
Yeah.
And this guy coming in. And I said then, I can only speak for myself, but I said it is going to be interesting if this guy who is from Sony Corp.
Yeah. He was supposed to just be interim, right?
Supposed to be interim.
Yeah.
It was going to be interesting to see what kind of influence he came in with, because that would tell me one way or the other if they ousted Jim. And again, I know Jim was allowed to retire and they gave him a party with cookies and all that kind of shit. We know that. But if they ousted Jim, it is because the communication between PlayStation and Sony Corp was broken to a degree. Sony Corp had lost influence over PlayStation. They moved their headquarters to the United States, and all of a sudden they kind of separated themselves and they were kind of doing their own thing autonomously. And if there's one thing you know about the Eastern corporate culture is that they are still very much in control. They want to be in control, and they do believe in some ways in the old ways. And I think they lost that. And I think they ousted Jim, put Totoki in to gain some control back over PlayStation. And his stuff here tells me that we're close to the target in those conversations. When he says that they could do better in business, he's saying, you guys are spending too much fucking money for our return.
Yeah.
Again, shareholders run everything. Again, business don't care about your feelings. Business don't care about creativity. It's great. Got great fans. Everybody loves our games. Yeah, but the returns ain't right. Our stocks ain't doing better because of you guys. This is pretty telling here. So again, Sony president, COO, and CFO Hiroki Totoki assumed the role of chairman of Sony Interactive Entertainment in October, ahead of CEO Jim Ryan's retirement, quote unquote. From April 1st, Totoki will act as interim CEO of SIE, sharing his initial impressions from his first 4 months working directly with SIE. The exec said he made a point to attend management meetings and visit PlayStation's game development studios to get a better understanding of the business. He's a numbers guy, everybody. Gotta love him. Jim was a numbers guy, but this guy's even more so because he's direct from the corp. The Sony president said that while he was impressed with the motivation and creativity of the studio workers, he believed there was room for improvement when it came to how they invest money and plan development schedules in order for the overall business to achieve its growth goals. You guys are taking too long, and you're spending way too much fucking money doing artsy fartsy shit, is basically what he was saying here. Sony announced strong PS5 sales of 16.4 million for the first 3 quarters of the fiscal year. However, while games business revenue was up 15% year on year, operating profit was down significantly at 25.9%, which Sony said was partly due to the decrease in sales and increase in losses from hardware due to promotions. All those bundles, sales, yada, during the holiday season. It's been about 4 months since I became chairman, and I'm trying to demonstrate leadership and have as many meetings as possible with the management team, Totoki told media investors listening to the web call via translator. Again, things are lost in translation, so some of this stuff sounds kind of robotic, but yeah, you get the overall picture. I also visited studios, and everyone is working really hard to fulfill their responsibility to try to optimize the business, and I understand that. But overall growth and sustainable, there's that word, sustainable profitability for increasing margins. How will that translate to these goals? I don't think people understand that deeply. I think that is the problem of the organization. That is the problem of the organization. That is not like he said, oh, that's a place where we can improve upon. No, it's a problem of the organization. So as far as I'm concerned, again, keep in mind it's translated, but so as far as I'm concerned, I try to understand what is happening in the company, in the industry, and also from the perspective of analysts, and try to explain that in a transparent manner so that people can recognize and notice these issues so that we can have harmonized approach going forward. You guys are going to get in line with what I'm saying. The exec continued, people who work in the studios have very high motivation. They are very highly motivated. They are very good people, and they have great creative minds and knowledge of live streaming. So weird. However, having said that, when it comes to a business, I think there's room for improvement. And that's to do with how to use money, the schedule of development, and how to fulfill one's accountability towards development. Those are my frank impressions. I will continue to engage in dialogue with the people so that we can find the right way to proceed. Sony Interactive Entertainment has set an ambitious sales target of 25 million PS5s for the year ending March 2024. However, in their latest quarter, it sold 8.2 million consoles, bringing the total for the year so far at 16.4. The company said it now expects to fall short of its original target by 4 million units. Again, still selling very well, but fell short now in the hardware sector as well, where they were ahead of pace previously.
Yeah.
They are now falling behind. Part of that goes to what you just were talking about, man. First party output. Having those games that people recognize, right? Having those games that your core fan base flocks to. They've done a great job shifting people from PS4 to PS5. They did a great job with that. That's where a lot of their upfront sales came from. They moved people over. They convinced people they needed a PS5. Hats off to Sony for doing that. But now, if you don't have a sustained lineup, this is what happens. We have prime examples of this generation after generation. Things will slow down. You don't have anything exciting to promote right now. Sure, Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is big, but is it as big as Spider-Man 2? No, it's not. It's big, but it ain't that big. Stellar Yams. Great, right? Sells, looking good. People are pumped. But how many casuals are pumped for Stellar Yams, right? How many people outside of the enthusiasts know about Stellar Yams right now, right? Not a mover per se when it comes to consoles. They are working with what they've got. They've made their deals and they've made their bed. Their first party is now in a lull. That's why we said all the time that people, again, we criticized Xbox for their awful 2022, right? We criticized them. We were right to criticize them. But we told everybody at the same time, Sony's going to have their lull. They're in their lull right now. And I'm not here to argue which is worse. They're in their lull. They're filling gaps with third party and publishing deals. Fine, you can do that. It still doesn't have the same impact that first party does. This is why I still say exclusives are important to ecosystems. They do drive a lot. And again, that's why I said they wouldn't give them up if it was Xbox. But that's neither here nor there.
Especially the PlayStation 2, right, though, Pong? Like, I mean, like, they don't have that multifaceted ecosystem yet that Xbox does, right?
No, they are not. Again, revenue stream wise, they don't have the diverse revenue stream that Xbox has been creating for a long time. That's why they've talked about all these changes, right? He also talked, it doesn't have it in this quote, but he also, God, I thought it was in this article, but it's not in this article. Let me see if I can find his quotes about the third party stuff, because that was the big highlight of the week for a lot of people as well. Let me try to find that real quick here.
While you're doing that, there's a couple super chats.
Go.
Dan Lazaro with the $5 says, "Can't wait to see when Tim Dog whining when Phil blocks him on Xbox." I don't think Phil's gonna block Tim Dog, but that if that happened, that would honestly like just be funny. It would. No disrespect to Tim, but if it happens, it'd be hilarious. Then Stubbs hit us with a $2 super chat earlier. It says, "Great show, guys. I don't listen to many shows live. Appreciate it, Stubbs. And I hope your leg continues to get better, bro. I saw you had to go under for that and stuff like that. So Sucks, but
Mhm.
keep
Alright.
keep getting better, man.
Absolutely, Stubbs. Please do, sir. Is that everybody?
Yes, yeah, we're caught up.
Okay. All right. So his exact quote. This is another quote from his talk. In the past, we wanted to popularize console, but there is a synergy to it. So if you have a strong first-party content, not only with our console, but other platforms like computers, first party can be grown with multi-platforms that can help operating profit improve. And he went on to confirm that they are
Yes.
going
PC
Go
day
ahead.
and date. PC day and date. Yep.
Yep. So that was the big quote this week that obviously says that they, which again, you could say, duh. Well, there's still plenty of people out here who want to deny that this stuff is happening.
Yeah. Oh, they don't need to do that. You know, why would they?
They now have a perfect example. And I don't care if you want to put this into a class because it's multiplayer. I don't care if you want to put it into class because it's a game of servers. The main the main criticism that the side that says that Sony won't go day and date to PC is because PC players don't buy games full price and they pirate a lot of stuff, and Sony wants nothing to do with that. Helldivers 2 proves you wrong. You make a great game, you don't overprice it, you give it the normal price, you don't overprice it. PC gamers will support your games day one.
Yeah, they don't care who made it. They just want a good game.
They don't give a shit about who made it, where it came from, or what it is. If it's a cool game and it starts catching on, they will play it. There is a reason why Sony will go day and date. Now, we have said, Mav, that we think that they're kind of stalling to get their PC storefront up and running because we all know Sony doesn't want to give up any profit. And if they can get the Sony PC storefront up and running, they can launch their games in their day and date, take all the profit, and then eventually drop it on Epic or Steam or wherever they want to drop it on at a later date. I can definitely see that happening. I can see them holding exclusives to their PC storefront for a while to take as much profitability, but they better have a damn good storefront because we already know that the Steam people don't go outside. Look at how many millions of people bought Starfield in the PC, in the Steam side versus buying it over on the Xbox or Windows side, right? They love their Steam. But I can see that happening. But overall, Mav, again, he's not speaking anything other than exactly who he is, exactly what we thought he could bring to the table. Now, the replacement for him, if there is a replacement for him down the road, will also be telling. But I believe Sony Corp want the rest control back. They want to influence. They saw the numbers. They saw how much was being spent on this stuff. And sure, they were making profit. But just like any good corporation, right or wrong, it's about the shareholders. They said, we aren't making enough here on what we're doing. This is way too much investment for such a little return. What do you think about Mr. Hiroki Totoki's comments this week, man?
Yeah, it sounds very corporate. It's obviously because it's who the message is to, right? To shareholders and stuff like that. So I feel like he's just being a little blunt about where they're at and what they need to do. And maybe that's what they need. But I would argue to him as well, and maybe this is part of it, with this ecosystem you're trying to build out where you're branching out and trying to do different things. You gotta have value and gamer oriented services at heart here to really expand it. That's what Steam's done well, right? Xbox, when PlayStation has a PC storefront and all that stuff, if they're not doing cross buy and all that shit, like, I'm gonna have problems. Okay, you know, like if you do day and date on PC and PlayStation, and you're not doing cross buy, cross save, all that shit, you know what I mean? I have problems with that. So they need to get that implemented when they're building this out, and I think they are building it out. There was rumors like two years ago almost about them starting work on that stuff. So I think we're going to see that sooner than we think. I think that that's a little bit of his message here to the shareholders. Maybe, Jim Ryan was trying to push things a little more games of servicey and lost focus on the PC side and all this kind of stuff. Like, I think he's seeing that this, way in the future of doing multiple platforms, whether it's, PC or whatever, is going to be the way that they reach beyond the existing users, because they keep reselling PlayStations to pretty much the same people, and they've never reached beyond what they did with PS2. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, so there are multiple generations beyond that, but what's the number one selling PlayStation hardware ever? That shit was a long time ago. So in a way, I mean, if you really think about it, based on what they were in the past, their actual user base has kind of shrunk. So, I mean, just talking about if the user base is the core console user, I mean, this sold how many, how many million PS2s? Like 160, 170 or some shit like that. I think it's still up there with like the most selling hardwares of all time. So, I just ultimately, they are getting where they want to go, but they're getting there slower. Right, because they were so stuck in that like other mindset for so long, So, but we'll see. That was the messages that they were preaching. I remember Jim Ryan was like, "We believe in generations. Like we decide when the console generation starts. We decide this. Our games are the best games we have." Then you have the games media parroting all of that, right? Like, oh, the PlayStation games are the best games, or all this kind of stuff, right? And really cementing home that message, right? But guess what? Now you have like an over 2-year timetable where you don't have any of those games. So like, is that what the promise was or not? Because that's what you sold everybody on. If that was your image and that's what you're selling everybody on about what is special about PlayStation and why you need to own this device, how can you survive when you don't have it? You got to do something different, and they're doing something different now. So ultimately, we'll see what happens. But I do think that overall, like if I was to like say, looking at this idea that PlayStation has today, right, with the console has been so much a core focus, which is happy for a console gamers, right? They love that. But guess what? It ain't paying off for games output right now. It's fragile, because if you do all of a sudden, like people are like, oh shit, like why buy a PlayStation? And their sales like flatlined, right? Never know. It happened before with the 360 at the end of the generation. Like this sales just all of a sudden kind of stopped, right? Because they got their mind on other things. PlayStation kind of caught up towards the last of the generation, right? Let's say that all of a sudden the sales just kind of tended to flatline. How does a company that is more focused on the hardware still being that core aspect of the entire ecosystem do? They got to rush to put out a new device at that point, and it's interesting. He also alluded to that here, talking about going ahead and looking at, we're on the tail end of this lifespan of this current cycle. We're looking ahead at the next generation. Right, so they're already looking past the PS5, trying to get ready for what's next. But I guarantee what's next is going to be more multifaceted than any generation they've had in the past. Mm-hmm. Because they're looking beyond just the console now, and the PlayStation gamers have been saying how bad that was. There are all these other things for so long. I've got to come to grips that you're not the only people that PlayStation's going to make games for anymore. And Helldivers, as much as I love that game, I've been hoping it was successful on PC. Why? To teach them a lesson that, guess what? We can make, like, not everything has to be this mold, number one. Not everything has to be this, like, big, giant, cinematic, storytelling, third-person action adventure game, right?
You mean like stuff in the PS3 and PS2 era? Weird.
Right. Not everything has to fit in that mold, right?
Oh.
Secondly, you can have a team do a different kind of budget, smaller type game experience. And if you put it on PC as well, you can potentially have an audience. Stop putting your multiplayer shit only on PlayStation. Like, even if it's fucking third-party exclusive deals, okay? If it has a multiplayer mainly component, if it's mainly a multiplayer experience, stop putting that shit only on PlayStation. It will fail. It will fail. You have trained your consumers not to like those kind of games. They're lesser than, you remember? So, put them on PC, learn from that. Now maybe they can take the lessons from Helldiver. Oh, wow, this smaller budget game from this other team. Well, they had this like creative like idea, and this is fun and like kind of dumb, but also chaotic and stuff. But they really kind of put their all into it, and then they put it on PC and like, and it's multiplayer, like all this stuff. Like, oh, what, this is actually working? Wow, it's getting like more players than like breaking records. You mean it sold more on PC than Spider-Man with concurrent players anyway, at least after launch? Like, yeah, it's fucking awesome, and I hope they see this and learn from it.
Yep.
Anyway, Caper Grant 692 Canadian says, got my new gaming rig today. Goodbye 30 FPS. LOL. Hell yeah.
Congratulations, sir. Hell yeah.
Yep. What did you get in it, Caper? Don't tell me it's better than me and Pong's, because then I'm gonna have to upgrade.
You will not.
I won't.
You will not.
I will tell you, I've been wanting Nvidia more because of the fucking Helldivers issues with AMD. That's a PC, man. You learn that shit like, what I'll do is like, every game is like AMD. All of a sudden, the issue on AMD, Nvidia's working fine.
There's problems with Nvidia too.
Yeah.
For $300.
Jasper and Steel ain't crashing out of their fucking games.
No, they're not. It's the one game. I know.
That's the one game I want to play right now.
We're not crashing on it anymore. We just can't play. I got to play on PS3 graphics level. I mean, it is what it is. Okay, it's not quite that bad. It's not quite.
A Caper
still looks good.
Grant 692 he's answering our question. Member for 19 months says 4070 Super Ryzen 7 5800X. Nice.
Very nice, sir.
Yeah, 4070.
That'll last for a while. It's gonna last for a while. That's all that matters.
Not too shabby.
No, sir.
Pretty damn good.
Yeah, no, I just think that again, reality check's coming for everybody outside of Nintendo. Nintendo's gonna do their thing. But for Sony, PlayStation only fans, change is happening. You guys are gonna have to make the same type of decisions if you decide to move to PC only because PlayStation takes away your favorite part of the ecosystem, which is exclusives. Then you guys are gonna have to move to PC. Or find a new hobby because Sony's moving in that direction sooner than later. Again, is it going to be slower than Xbox? Yes, because they have to be. They don't have a $3 trillion parent company. But they are moving in that direction, and I think it's good for them from a revenue standpoint. Again, I want all these companies to be solid because the more solid they are, the more games we keep getting, right? The more shaky things get, the less risks they take, the less chances they take, and we just don't get as much. I want all these companies to be solid, but Sony's moving in that direction for sure. And this COO, now CEO of SIE, is definitely seeing some issues. Definitely. He came in, kind of laid the hammer down. So I expect there's going to be some some changes within the studios, how they function, the budgets, how long it takes to develop games. Again, I've talked about this AAA development overall. I think is going to have a massive overhaul at some point. And a lot of studios and a lot of publishers are going to have to relearn how to make bigger games, but with smaller teams and in less time. They're going to have to start using tricks again, just like they did back in the day. Yep.
A small team turned into a big game.
Yep.
You know,
we'll start seeing more of that too. I think.
Power World is a good example of like out there, like like these games, man. Helldivers 2. You can look at that one. for sure. They're having to hire now because the game's so successful. That's what you want
Which
to
is
see.
great. Shout out to Arrowhead. Again, they deserve it. Taking their original vision, which is a top-down twin-stick shooter, taking that game and then flipping it on its head, making it a third-person perspective, but keeping that frantic, chaotic gameplay intact. They did an amazing
It's so
job,
much fun, dude. They're still not owned by PlayStation, right? They're independent, but have a publishing deal with them, right?
Yes, correct.
Right.
They're everything but a first party studio at this point. So, but yeah, shout out to them. I'm so happy that they put up the bat signal saying we need help. Come help us make our game better because we've got 200,000 plus concurrent players on our game now. Awesome. That's what you want to see from a small team like that. It's beautiful. And the same for Pocket Pair. Crazy success. Good stuff. We got some smaller stuff here, Mav, unless there's anything else you want to touch.
The Xbox hardware thing was in the I think it was in the Tom Warren interview? I can't remember. They kind of there was a alluding to handheld a little bit from Phil Spencer.
Let me bring that back up. It might be I was going to go through that article anyways, but again, we are going kind of long.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to jump through all of it, but let me see. Where is my Tom Warren post? Where are you?
I'm trying to find it too.
I got it right here.
There's a VGC one too about the technical leap thing.
Yeah, the technical leap thing. Let me see if Tom specifically answers this. Or asks this. Sorry, guys. Don't usually do it this way, but let me double check here.
Oh, yeah, one thing too, real quick, because while you're looking that up.
I got it. He did ask him.
Okay. On the thread from Xbox that they put out earlier, right? They put this thread out earlier to coincide with the podcast and with the blog post and stuff like that. Okay. There was a thread, and in one of the threads read this: Xbox hardware will also continue to be a flagship experience for players and for game developers to launch games on, with a robust and innovative multi-year hardware roadmap, including more console and controller options for you this holiday.
Yep.
So this holiday, there will be more console and controller options.
Sounds like Elite V3. Holiday coming.
Elite V3, which we've already kind of seen in that leaked roadmap before, and then possibly the cylinder Xbox discless thing. Cylindrical. Yeah, that's the word I'm looking for. Choreography. Cylindrical Xbox discless.
Yeah.
But if it looks the same or what, we won't know. But like potentially that would be a console option. Maybe obviously cheaper than a regular Series X, unless they really up the storage, right?
They said option, right? So when Phil talked about those plans changing from the leaked docs, Mav, maybe he wasn't. Maybe they were still moving forward with the digital, Series X, right? The refresh, whatever you want to call it. But they're in that leaked doc too. They talked about the end of life for the Series S as well, right?
Yeah.
They talked about that. Maybe they're going to continue to offer, right, the disc version of the Series X, the Series S, and just introduce that as an all digital option if you choose to pick it up, right?
Yeah.
Because that's what it sounds like to me when they say option, right? More console options. Yes.
Which would be good for people that prefer digital and want to spend a little bit less on a console, but still want the power, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, absolutely. Very interesting. So yeah, I've got the questions where Tom Warren jumped in with Phil Spencer and asked him about the hardware specifically. So he says, switching to the hardware side of the equation, you mentioned that new console and controller options are coming this holiday. Are those the leaked, refreshed models that we saw in the FTC documents? Phil answers, I don't know about any leaks. I don't know what you're talking about. And then he laughs. And then Tom goes, well, you said they were old plans. So what's happening there is that's what you're teasing. Phil laughs again and says, we'll talk about things that are coming up. I will say I'm very proud of the work the hardware team is doing, not only for this year, but also into the future. We're really thinking about creating hardware that sells to gamers because of the unique aspects of the hardware. It's kind of an unleashing of the creative capability of our own hardware team that I'm really excited about. Matt, going back again to what we both talked about, they kind of got a clean slate.
Clean. We can't.
Slate.
Neither
What
of
is
us
wrong
can
with us
talk
tonight?
today. Super chat. Clean slate.
Yeah, wow. Clean slate that they can really go full. They can just go if they got the okay to just do what they want to do. It sounds like that's exactly what they're doing here. Tom goes on and asks him, does that involve a handheld? You keep liking loads of tweets about handhelds. Phil answers, I'm a big fan of handhelds, laughs again. I'm a big fan, but nothing to announce. When I look at Xbox and I say, okay, as a platform, how do I know that we're doing well? I look at how many players there are. I look at how many hours get played. It turns out that the numbers of hours played on a monthly basis across Xbox, across cloud, PC, and console is a pretty good metric for how we're doing. So, okay, what keeps people from playing certain hours? Well, there's some sleep, school, and kind of like normal life, but some of it is just access. Do I have access to the games that I want to play right now? Obviously, we're kind of learning from what Nintendo has done over the years with Switch. They've been fantastic with that. So when I look at the Steam Deck and the ROG and my Legion Go, I'm a big fan of that space. We do have real work. One of the weak points in the experience on a ROG or a Lenovo is Windows. How Windows works on controller input only on that kind of DPI on a smaller 8 or 7-inch screen, that's a real design point that our platform team is working with Windows to make sure that experience is even better. And they get into the mobile side, the mobile store and stuff, which I don't think we need to get into. But yeah, so Mav, he's got a long answer for the handheld side of things, right? A long answer. It sounds like they're very keen on it, and we've obviously gotten some smoke that they are doing something. We knew previously, right, that there was a working handheld that they had designed around the Series S specs, that they actually had a working version through R&D, but a big problem was obviously battery life, right? And power consumption. That's the two main factors when it comes to handhelds. But tech has moved forward. We now have companies proving that you can do certain things. And yeah, I think that's one of the SKUs that we will see. If not this gen, that will be 26, 27 when they go into next gen with this most technologically advanced hardware, or most technologically biggest technological leap for a hardware generation ever, to quote Sarah. I think that's going to be a part of the equation.
Yeah,
for sure.
Do you think that we could see a handheld for this generation?
If I had to guess right now, no. I think they will save it for next gen because I think it's going to be it's going to have kind of a cohesiveness with the next gen console, right? And I think that there's going to be some marketing to that. Yes, it's going to be two separate SKUs. It's going to be two separate items that you can buy, but I think they're going to want to advertise what you can do between those two things at one time. Is it possible they come out with like a first gen earlier of the handheld? Sure, I guess it is, but I think they're really focused on finishing out this gen and then getting that head start that we talked about on next gen. And I think that's going to include that package deal between those two products and potentially a third streaming puck box,
right,
that we've already seen that I think is ready to rock and roll. I think they're ready to come out with that as well.
So you're thinking with the next gen launch, right?
Yep.
Which would be potentially 2026 or whatever.
Yep.
That they will have a hybrid handheld device and a crazy powerful box console, traditional console, right?
Well, when we say traditional console, just meaning the box underneath the TV.
Yes.
I think it won't be traditional in
other ways. Right.
Yes, correct. So, but I think that yes, that's the case. And they're going to launch those two simultaneously. And again, it will be catered, both of them will be catered towards the enthusiast side of things, right? I think that they will be catering. I think they will be expensive. I don't think they're going to be cheap. I could be wrong. Maybe the handheld, they try to go Switch route, but I think that for them, that doesn't make any sense to even try to compete with Switch because they make different types of games. So what they were talking about today, and they want to put, Sarah specifically said why they are making the next hardware, right? Is because she believes the hardware pushes the devs and the creatives even further, and they want to make it so that creatives can get even bigger and better games out to us. You kind of got to have the potential with the handheld to be that on the go experience that you get with your box underneath the TV to a certain point. Again, thinking of like PCs where sure, smaller screen, you don't need 4K on a small screen, right? You don't need that. But having it in line so that there is no real disparity, that the creators have to, that the devs have to make massive sacrifices to the games to get them to work on the handheld. So I think those are going to go together. And not everybody's going to need the handheld, right?
Yeah.
Some people are going to be cool with not having the handheld, but I think the package deal will be you playing a game on the handheld, you walk in the house, you get off the bus or the subway or whatever, for those people that travel a lot that play the handhelds like the Switch. You go walk into your house, right? Your game's in suspend mode. You sit down on the couch, hit one button, the game pops up, system turns on. You're playing that same game right where you left off on the TV almost instantaneously, right? That's what I see. That's what I envision. We'll see.
Yeah, I'm really curious what they're gonna do because I think what they do in that space is gonna be really different than anybody else has done, right?
Correct.
And it'll be interesting because I think it's gonna be like built around their ecosystem, which is multifaceted to begin with, right? So, yeah, it's gonna be crazy. In my back of my mind, I was trying to think like, would it be possible for them to have one like sooner than that, right? And the only way I could see that happening would be like, okay, let's say they made like a Series S spec one now or whatever, like performance wise on par with Series S, right? And then they let that carry through for a few years into the next generation because a cross-gen is probably going to be a thing we would imagine for a few years. And then when they phase that out, like, well, games start becoming current gen only then, right? Then at that point is when you could release the next one, right? And they would learn a lot from this one. And that would also help you keep the cost the lower on the device because you're not having to have it be all balls to the wall power wise at the start of the generation, right? When new generations are just, what are they anymore, really, when you're going forward, right? So
they talked about that as well.
It would be interesting. I would like to have one sooner than that, but
of course
I want it to be great when they do it because I want to have that experience where it's like really like what I would dream of in a handheld type device, right? And I think their main competition with that will be the Switch 2, but also the next Steam Deck, right? Because whatever Steam cooks up for the next iteration of the hugely successful Steam Deck, like this is they're gonna go balls to the wall into this space with the hardware because they for Steam's aspect they own the PC, right? If they can get the TVs too on a mass appeal like market and also have people carry them around everywhere they go, like you're talking about everybody having access to your storefront also, like that would be a huge win for Steam. So the Steam Deck is their first successful piece of hardware, right? They ain't gonna stop there, right? So we're gonna see what they're learning and what they do in the future. The Xbox is gonna use their ecosystem and compete in that space as well. But yeah, that's a whole emerging massive market, man. It's crazy. There's gonna be a lot of different stuff, and then that also on top of all the third-party manufacturers that are building those devices as well, that Microsoft wants to be the default operating system. They want Windows to be on all those devices. They don't want it to be like Android based with just like, they want them to be PCs, right? Because they want people to use they want the people to be using the Microsoft Store on there as much as possible. So like that's the other part that Phil touched on about making that experience better, right? And that's good though, because they see those as extensions of the Xbox ecosystem, even if they're not made by them. So that's going to be interesting to see what they do with that too.
It's going to be crazy. I mean, Steele's brought up the point. I think he brought it up during the show today too. Maybe right during the show where the handheld could be the main device, right? And the box could just be a separate dock that increases the power for the TV, right? And gives you more performance. Like I think he's brought that up in the past. There's a lot of different ways they could go. Yeah. And I agree with you. The only reason why I don't see him doing early one, the only reason why would be because of the space is so filled with things and options right now that when they come in, I think Phil and the hardware team and Sarah and everybody understand. And I think that's really what Sarah was saying. They have to make something that's going to stand out. Sure, you could say, well, the ecosystem itself does. Absolutely, of course. But you can access that ecosystem elsewhere. It might not be as convenient as it could be on an Xbox device. But at the same time, I think they want to make it this really unique experience with their handheld and whatever the box is for the TV as far as a console. And I think that would separate them from just a Steam Deck, which as powerful as Steam Deck will probably be, having those people in the Xbox ecosystem that understand the Xbox, having a Windows-based system that is game-centric and updating it, I think really will make them stand out in a really suddenly crowded field of handhelds, right? And I think they'll make it worthwhile for a lot of people to invest into. So yeah, I'm excited. I want to see what they do. If they introduce AI, they get cloud development going, like all this shit that they have that they've been kind of working towards, man, oh man, if they could put it all together, could be really, really special. Yeah. What they can do. So,
I agree, man.
Yeah. Anything else, Matt, you got on your plate that you want to get to at all?
I don't think so. What a day.
Yeah, what a day. Shout out real quick to Wizzy Tekken. I know that Jasper and Psychonauts have posted it elsewhere, but Wizzy actually hit me up before the show and posted this. Not everybody's going to care about this, but I think it's cool as shit. Call of Duty, it's now confirmed. People have leaked actual video of this. They are doing a Space Marines crossover, man, with Warhammer 40K, and it looks fucking ridiculous, but cool because it is. People have showed the actual skins, like switching out the skins from character into the Warhammer skin. And like one of the Blood Angels is actually smoking a cigarette because that was in the original skin, which is ridiculous. But I don't care. It looks awesome. It's crazy that they're doing this crossover. Warhammer 40K again. People would call it niche just because of the kind of AA space it's played in the entire time, but that franchise is huge. And if it starts playing in the AAA space, people become aware of what Warhammer 40K is. They pump out so many games, and Space Marines 2 is going to go a long way to making that happen as soon as that launches. Man, I can't wait. It looks so damn dope.
Also, like Jasper just reminded, college football is officially coming back this year.
They finally had a teaser.
So that's official.
More information in May. They're going to do a reveal in May.
And sure. Tales of Arise is hitting Game Pass, I think, right?
Huge. Tales of Arise got confirmed overnight by Xbox Japan, put out the post. We had got done playing. I was getting ready for bed. I was kind of just chilling out and relaxing in the dark, going through my phone real quick to see if any new information or anything else had come out. And here's Xbox Japan, Tale of Arise coming out. And that is coming on, what was it, man? March the 20th, or no, February the 20th, excuse me.
Yeah.
February 20th. So next week, Tales of Arise. Yeah, it's 2 years old. Don't care. Great JRPG coming. I played the demo, fell in love, never picked it up. Guess what? It's now on my list of things I got to play. And it's going to be in Game Pass. Beautiful. Beautiful. Also, free to play days is going on as always each and every week. A lot of people don't remember that free to play days is going on. But interestingly enough, let me bring it back up again here real quick. Oh, where did that post go? I thought we posted it in here. Did I post it in ours? Maybe I posted it. I posted. No, I didn't. Why the hell is it not in here? I can't find it. Dead Island is dropping into free to play days. So 4 days you can play Dead Island. So for anybody who missed it, like me. So I've got it downloaded already.
It was
'Cause I
also
saw that
on part of the sale they just had too, I think.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. It is part of their sale, but you can play it for free for 4 days. So go check out that if you haven't already. I know I'm going to check it out a little bit when I get a chance. Also,
If you want to play co-op, let me know, bro.
Okay. All right, bro. I will let you know for sure.
It's really good.
I do want to check. Yeah, everybody said it was really good. I love that series. So just again, too busy with too many other games. Benji Sales put out the stats for fighting games. Mav and I were talking about fighting games earlier. Put out the sales performance. Street Fighter 6, 1 million in 5 days, 2 million in 1 month, 3 million in around 7 months. Mortal Kombat 1, nearly 3 million in under 2 months, 3+ million by January 2024. Tekken 8, you've heard us talk about it, 2 million in under 3 weeks.
Yeah.
All of them much deserved. Again, just to see the fighting genre come back. But Tekken 8, crushing it, 2 million in 3 weeks. Word of mouth spread how good that game is. Man, shout out to everybody coming back to the fighting ring. Again, I'm a single player only dude. Don't care. I just love to see him coming or back around again. Awesome job. I think that's about it. I don't think I really had anything else. I mean, there's always a bunch of small topics that we can get into.
Oh, an interesting thing is like some people thought that the Nintendo Direct was actually pushed back because of the Xbox news today. So that was the thing going on around earlier. Grubb's kind of talking about that a little bit. You trust any damn thing he says anymore.
I do. He's got a good track record.
I know. the list he used to put out was like on the money, man. Like I know, I'm sure he does that every year where he has like the summer or the games mess or whatever, and has like the date ideas of what the dates of all these different events and things that are going to be at him. Yeah, he's usually on the money. Even if he is stoking the flames a little bit here and there. But
thanks, Psycho. I saw your post now. Thanks.
Yeah. What was the so Switch 2 could be potentially announced maybe next week if or maybe a Nintendo Direct will be next week instead of today when it was rumored, and maybe they pushed it back because maybe Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves will be there, or Pentiment or whatever they put it on it. I don't know. Interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. Like I said, it was crazy to think about. Like, company like Nintendo doesn't usually even consider that. So if there's any truth to it whatsoever, that they actually looked at what was going on and happening, and Xbox having to kind of up, maybe Nintendo was in the slot, and Xbox, as Phil alluded to, had plans to kind of break up all these talks over months or whatever else. Some people thought that they might have something at the end of the month. They had to move it up, and Nintendo, stepped out of the way due to the Hi-Fi Rush stuff, because Nintendo potentially could be announcing Hi-Fi Rush at their next Direct and Sea of Thieves or whatever the case. We don't know again how this is all going to break down, but yeah, it's just crazy to think about that Nintendo would move out of the way for a business update event from Xbox.
Yeah.
Again, shows the power, right? That they don't want to be in that mix of what everybody's going to be writing articles about and what everybody's going to be talking about. They want to get their full shine too, which they deserve. And I'm not saying that the announcement of the Switch 2 would not be a black hole. It absolutely would be. But to have both of those things kind of happen at the same time, maybe Nintendo said, nah, we can wait a week. We'll come out next week. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just a recorded video anyway.
Yeah, right. Exactly. I think that's it. I think that's it. I think that's all I've got really this week. Dragon's Dogma 2. I will throw this out there as well. Hideki came out, Itsuno came out on Twitter, posted in Japanese, but if you translate it, and he also posted some English along with it as well, said Dragon's Dogma 2 will release with an uncapped frame rate, and also Dragon's Dogma 2 supports variable frame rate. People somebody posted underneath that, is this for consoles? And he liked it. So again, to Steele's point in the DMs, he was like, well, of course, why would it be capped on PC? That's a, what?
Yeah.
So it's got to be the consoles he's talking about. It's got to be part of the talk. People were asking, 30 frames. It looks like it's going to be 30 frames locked. I think this was his answer to it. So it's going to be uncapped. It's going to support VRR. So if you have a VRR TV, it's going to be good for you, obviously. It doesn't mean it's going to be a lock 60 even on Series X or PlayStation 5, but obviously it has the potential to be hitting higher frame rates, which is always a good thing. And if there is future versions that are a little bit more powerful, maybe the PS5 Pro, maybe a better chance to have that happen. But that's good news. I think that's great.
I'm just gonna say I would much rather have that than a locked 30 personally, just because some people have the VRR and all that stuff, or at least give the option, right, of one or the other, right?
We were consistent because we talked about this with Starfield when Todd said they had unlocked and that it would hit 60s at times, and we were like, Todd, just keep it uncapped.
Just give us an option. Yeah.
Yes.
Have an option to unlock it. Right? Like that would be great. But I think that the interesting thing would be, like, for me, is always like, okay, the games now, if you play a game on like a Series X that came out like on older hardware and it had an uncapped frame rate, oh, you're getting a fucking great experience now, right? Like, so, but a lot of these games, they don't ever take the time to go and update or unlock or any of that kind of stuff, right? So, like, for future proofing the game, for me, because like Dragon's Dogma, the first one, now it's 30 fucking frames, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's no way around that. It's 30 frames. But if they had done that right now in Series X, I'd be playing that shit at 60, at least, right? So,
yep, you would.
I would rather have that for the future of the game. So, Batman, if they did that, could you imagine if Arkham games are uncapped? Oh my god,
it would have been running. Yep, it would have been great.
Yep.
We've always been for that. Options. Options are always
good. You can't tell me they can't just add an option to uncap it. If they like, it's just
right. We never asked for all the options of PC land. We just asked for a couple options on console. Give us a couple. That's it. Let us experience how we want to experience it. Real quick, shout out to Jasper again, posting in our DMs while we're live here. Call of Duty also showing off a new skin called Ultra Skin Aberration. For all of you Avowed fans who love that new poster, and I think that's most of us that think that's some of the greatest artwork ever, you've got to go see this skin. You've got to look up this skin right now. They obviously saw the reaction to that poster and got to work and made a skin for Call of Duty, now first party, heavily influenced by that artwork, heavily influenced. It looks like the Avowed skull in that Avowed skeleton character.
Oh, wow, it does, dude.
Yeah,
holy shit.
Yes,
It's so
yes,
badass.
it looks fantastic, bro. Yeah, it looks awesome. Do not doubt the team called up and said, hey, guys, mind if we do something in this realm? We're all first party family now, aren't we?
Yeah.
So it looks fantastic though. It looks super dope. Love it. Yeah, man, if you got nothing else, let's wrap this show up. It's been a good 3.5 hours. We knew it again. It was going to be a bigger one. If an Umbro, I see you coming in here. I could feel your ego working its way into our chat. What's going on, brother? Anyways, yeah, what a great show tonight. Thank you all for joining us on this episode of PM in the PM. Again, another Thursday. Another big news day. This is how it works. If you didn't catch our live reactions and you want to go see the live reactions, Psychonauts jumped in there. Boom was in there. Steele was in there with me and Mav. Go check that out. Mav and Boom were kind of holding down the fort for the beginning, the half hour prior to the show. They had some great discussions. Go check it all out. But thank you all for being here. Again, live, or if you're listening to us in the future, whether you lurked in the chat, whether you chatted in the chat, doesn't matter to us. Thank you all for giving us your time and being a part of the show as much as we are. Thank you, one and all. Nothing but love and respect. But Mav, man, we said it from the get-go 3 years ago, brother, that this generation was going to be fascinating. It was going to be unbelievable, some of the stuff that we got to see. Obviously, a lot of it was, we were thinking games, but we were also thinking, high level stuff and the business side of things. And we've gotten more than we ever could have ever imagined possible with the ABK deal and all this stuff going on and PlayStation changing out, moving in different directions. And it's just going to continue, man. But appreciate being here with you, brother, and getting to talk about it every week with you, everything that's going on. But today was definitely a cool one, man. So
Yeah.
what you got coming up, brother?
Oh man, yeah, just overall, thanks to everybody who watches any of our content, who watched PM in the PM tonight, or decided to choose us to watch the Xbox thing earlier, because we had a good turnout for that, and you guys chose to watch it here. So appreciate everybody who made that decision. You guys rock, because there's lots of great content creators out there, lots of great channels doing streams for that. But we had a lot of fun through that, watching it, reacting to it afterwards, and having conversations, and then again tonight. But conversation will continue, Pong. It's tomorrow night. Xbox Ultimate Podcast. And we know that there's a lot of the fam that has a lot to say about this stuff, right? So you want to see some of our family unleashed tomorrow night? Come hang out on Xbox Ultimate Podcast, because I guarantee you it's going to be a blast. Maybe I'll see if Steel can show up too, because I really desperately want his energy on that show tomorrow night, bro, because he is amazing right now. And then Mondays, we got FSP, Fun Speculation Podcast at 10 p.m. Eastern Time. Tuesdays, for now, we have Fun Pop. That's 10 p.m. Eastern. And then back here Thursdays, PM in the PM. Everybody, thank you for being here. Pong Soul, tell everybody where they can find you, sir.
You guys all know the drill by now. Follow me, Pong Soul, on X, formerly known as Twitter. Pong Soul on Xbox. And if you choose to, Pong Soul on Steam. I don't check the friends list there very often, but I will start doing that as I start playing more games on PC too. I need to keep up with that. I know a couple people have followed me over there, so feel free. Otherwise, I will be with the fam tomorrow night for Xbox Ultimate. Again, it's going to be an interesting conversation. I kind of a lot of times take a back seat because me and Mav have already talked about so much, and I love listening to the fam get their bars off and talk about their perspectives, because they sometimes are different, and we're gonna have some. And if Steel joins, man, he's feeling his ults right now, man. So he's chuckling and laughing all the way. But we're gonna have a good time tomorrow night, no matter who's there. It's just a great time. I can't tell you anything more than that. Lots of laughs, lots of great conversation though. So 10 p.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, Xbox Ultimate, right here on the ad-free Fun Speculation Network, bean free. We're not selling you coffee tomorrow night either, so join us there. And then Saturday morning, that's where Steele and I get into it. We had good talks last week, interesting conversations, because again, him and I, just like me and Mav, little different perspectives on things, which don't happen very often. Not that we don't feel the end is that we're all on the same page about how this all kind of goes down. It's just how we get there that's a little bit different for each of us. But Steele and I will be talking all about this stuff. We're breaking down some other things too as well. Again, Steele will still probably be really chuckling it up through all of this. So it's going to be a great morning. Live, raw, and uncut, living split screen, Saturday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern, 9 o'clock Central Time, 4+ hours. Buckle up, whether you catch 5 minutes or whether you catch the entire 4+ hours. Doesn't matter to us. Stop in, say hi, and see what we're talking about. I think you'll have a good time. We get the chat involved over there as well. And then, of course, Saturday night, took a week off last week, PTK. Need a little break, no problem. We took a week off, but the Shop podcast is back this week as of right now. So we will be live 8 p.m. Eastern, 7 o'clock Central Time, PTK Blam's channel. Blam's, of course, the man and the host. And then we got Fuzzy. Then we got myself, and we usually have some guests. So don't know who they are quite yet, what he's got lined up, but be there because, again, wrapping up your week, Saturday night, game time, have us on in the background. It's the best way to end your Saturday night, where we kind of chill out and take everything that happened during the week, all the talk, and just kind of filter through it and get some new conversations going as well there. So be there for that. Next week, it starts all over again. Double Barrel Gaming is the channel. Mr. Boomstick is the man, 5 days a week, but Tuesdays, it's Xbox Factor Podcast. And I imagine that his podcast for about the next 2 weeks are going to be pretty lively with everything that's been going down. So join him on Tuesdays, though, especially because brother from another Steel Rain is on panel full time, and it is a little bit sweeter over there. Although I just love that show because that was one of the first shows I was on. 12 p.m. Eastern, 11 o'clock Central Time every Tuesday. God willing, back here, same bat channel, same bat time, same bat place for another episode of PM in the PM. And God knows what's going to happen, because in this community, in this industry, really feels like we can't have a week off. Something will come up and nuke and melt down everything again. So we're going to talk about it next week, PM in the PM right here with myself and Mav. Anyways, it's the golden age of gaming, people. Again, I try to remind everybody of this all week long. A lot of us did. Just get out there. Even if you want to get involved in all this stuff, that's cool. We do too. We're talking heads. Get out there and enjoy the gaming like we have as well, because there is no better time to be gaming than right here, right now. Play what you love what you play, and I'll talk to you all real soon. Mav, get us out of here, brother.
Have a good one, everybody. Peace out.